Stick with me here, you're about to meet the smartest dude in school. While the cool guys chase girls, our boy Jay is purely grinding his brain. But hey, even hardcore nerds get some attention. This girl, completely hooked on the student council president. Then, out of nowhere, our straight-A, zero-drama president shows up to class looking totally beat up. Total shock. Nobody could figure out what happened. I mean, Jay is the kind of genius aiming for that #1 national rank. He plays strictly by the rules, but boom, everything flips. The teacher walks in and introduces a brand new transfer student straight from the States. Turns out she's the principal's granddaughter. So yeah, VIP treatment is absolutely mandatory. The second this blonde spots Jay, zero hesitation, she plants a kiss right on him in front of the whole class. Minds blown, especially the girl who's been crushing hard on him forever. Wild, right? Even the principal is creeping through the window to watch. Let's dive into a wild one. He never even met her, but Shell just glares at the guy next to him and demands, "Hey, average dude, give me your seat." Obviously. The guy didn't say no to her polite threat. Next thing you know, random students are completely swarming Jay, demanding to know how he bagged a 10 out of 10 girlfriend. The only miserable person in the room? That girl over there. But wait, to figure out what happened, let's rewind a few days. Meet our main guy, Jay. Even though he practically lives right next door, he insists on riding this beat-up old bike. Why? Because school is totally boring. He needs his daily morning adrenaline rush. Every single thing on his route becomes a crazy obstacle. So Jay bombs through the streets like he's trying to bag a Red Bull sponsorship. Construction workers panic, and yeah, those couples making out totally jump out of their skin. Hitting a deadly hill so steep that just walking it is sketchy? Zero fear. Jay absolutely sends it at max speed. Hitting the bottom, he throws down pro-level moves just to break the bike. Now pay attention here. The popular kids witness this for the very first time, and they are super salty seeing someone steal their main character aura. Some thought it was hype, but others, they plan to jump him after class. Meanwhile, another boring day kicks off, with absolutely everyone whining around our guy Jay. But Jay, bro, is glued to his books, completely tuning out the noise. And while he's sitting there feeling totally burned out, Mia is secretly staring at him. Mia practically jumps when her bestie suddenly asks what's on her mind. Her friend is just checking up to see if Mia is actually grinding for those brutal midterms. With a guilty smile, Mia brushes it off, saying she studies sometimes. Her friend gives her a reality check, hit the books harder or tank the exams completely. She tells Mia that sure, studying matters, but it shouldn't be your entire life. People thought the council president was just a boring nerd with zero hobbies. But get this, Mia instantly shuts down anyone trashing him. She constantly hyped up the president to everyone. You and I both know what that means, right? Her friend finally clicks. Mia is totally falling hard for Jay. Enter the red-haired dude in the slick black jacket, absolutely stealing every girl's heart. Mew is basically the class superstar. The second Yuna spots him, she practically rolls her eyes, joking that his mere existence gets the crowd hyped. Without missing a beat, Mew roasts her right back, calling her a grumpy grandma. Yeah, Yuna definitely didn't find that funny at all. And it got way worse when Mew stuck his tongue out, dropping another petty insult. Yuna is practically fuming now, even with her best friend desperately trying to cool her down. Yuna absolutely snaps, screaming every insult in the book, but despite her wild rage, she somehow looks incredibly gorgeous while angry. Seriously, Dom Kang is in the corner completely mesmerized by her every move. Meanwhile, Mew thinks his sister is just having another crazy meltdown, so he casually sneaks away, pretending he's never met her. Through all this absolute chaos, Jay hasn't even blinked. Still studying, escaping his furious sister, Minwoo walks past and casually decides to say what's up to Jay. Jay brutally leaves him on read in real life. Seeing Minwoo awkwardly realize he's being dodged and refusing to leave, Jay finally sighs. He says he's swamped and demands to know what Minwoo actually wants. Minwoo instantly shoots his shot, inviting Jay to join the biking crew. And trust me, you're going to want to see his answer next. All right, stick with me here. Mew is hyped, telling Jay that insane downhill drift he pulled off totally blew the entire team away. Just one clean skid. Plus, finding out this extreme rider is actually the student council president. Wild. So, Mew straight up asks if Jay wants to join their awesome biking crew. But Jay just gives him the silent treatment. Total ice. Mew keeps begging, but nothing works. Watching from afar, Yuna is super confused, having no clue these two even knew each other. Mia is super nosy too, desperately wanting the tea on their little chat. Jay just wants Mew to stop ruining his study time. Minwoo is completely shocked the dude genuinely has zero interest in joining them. Walking away, Minwoo sarcastically apologizes for bothering him, muttering under his breath that uptight guys like Jay are super annoying. Jay mostly tunes him out completely, but that bicycle talk actually sparks a little something. It throws him way back to being 13 years old, right when his awesome uncle gifted him his very first bike. Watch closely, this memory hits different. His uncle told him to ditch the book sometimes for fresh air, promising epic road trips together once Jay got decent at riding. School finally lets out, and everyone is heading home chatting. Besties Yuna and Mia are totally venting about how incredibly stressful high school life is right now. Yuna expected her teen years to be romantic and memorable, but honestly, it is just the same boring grind every day. Mia thinks Yuna needs to chill out, promising crazy adventures are still ahead. Yuna just wishes they would hurry up because she is totally sick of these classes. Mia says stay positive, assuring her holiday break will fix everything. Then boom, Dom Kang jumps out of nowhere, asking Yuna on a zombie movie date. Yuna shrieks, yelling at him to lower his voice before deciding to smack him down. She literally warned him to stop creeping up on her like some weirdo stalker. Eating that brutal hit, Dom Kang realizes Yuna packs a very serious punch, but bouncing back fast. He chases after her, so hyped to watch on a massive 90-inch screen. Meanwhile, Jay packs up his bag, just quietly staring out the window at everyone leaving. He grabs his backpack to leave, but I know what you are thinking, Mew is back. He specifically waited until Jay finished studying to bug him. Let's dive right into tonight's wild ride. Mew tells Jay he just wants him to think about joining the crew, casually dropping that some rival is practically begging to race him tonight. But Jay just stares right through him. He straight up says he hasn't even hit the pedals yet. Jay tells the guy to back off and go play with his buddies. But Mew refuses to quit, bringing up this loudmouth in their crew named TJ Kin. Turns out, TJ has been talking major trash about Jay's ride, calling it absolute garbage. TJ even whined about guys who care too much about the tiny details on their bikes. Mew adds that TJ has been watching Jay roll around on that exact bike and wants to settle this in a race. Tonight, Green Park. Winner takes all the glory. Jay doesn't say a single word back, but you can see the absolute annoyance on his face. Later that night, the park is absolutely buzzing with energy. It is the ultimate hangout spot, packed with riders pulling off crazy tricks and just chilling. People are proving bikes are way more than just A to B transport. The Zephyr's crew is throwing down some insane stunts, totally stealing the spotlight from everyone else. Mew is looking super serious, right until his buddy June pulls a fast one. June slams an ice-cold energy drink against Mew's cheek, making him jump out of his skin. Laughing it off, June tells him to chill out and hands over the can. Drinking up, Mew stays completely confident Jay will actually come. Minwoo just sighs, saying they gotta wait. June figures if Jay bails, they can just practice some races themselves. Then he straight up asks why Minwoo is so obsessed with this guy. Minwoo instantly denies being obsessed and tells June to keep it down before people get the wrong idea. June just shrugs, saying you do not need an excuse to ride. Still, considering how cracked Jay's skills are, the dude has obviously been at this forever. June honestly thinks it would be way more fun for Jay to join the crew. The guys are just chilling when a whole rival squad rolls up. They start pestering Minwoo, asking where the stuck-up kid from his school is since he is mad late. Mew tells them to hold their horses. Someone jokes that Jay is running scared, but watch this unfold. Mew shuts down the trash talk instantly, fully trusting Jay will arrive any second now. Mew actually offers a quick warm-up lap while they wait. The rival squad just underestimates him entirely because his leg is visibly injured. Right as things heat up, Jay finally rolls up, and everyone starts whispering about his crazy rep. Seeing him arrive, Mew smiles and chimes in. Mew jokingly complains he really wanted to smoke TJ and his fancy carbon bike himself, but maybe next time. TJ just scoffs, stepping up and asking if this random dude is seriously the challenger. TJ swaggers right up to Jay and sticks out his hand, smirking that he fully expected Jay to chicken out. In classic Jay fashion, he completely leaves the guy hanging. TJ looks annoyed, wondering what his deal is. As Jay steps up, Mew admits he was getting pretty stressed. Convinced he was going to bail. But Jay cuts the small talk, demanding they start this already because he has places to be. Then he points to June to lay down the rules. June waves safely from a distance, just to avoid getting left hanging too. He introduces himself as June Lei from Sunny High School, adding that he is currently in his third year. Minwoo is totally surprised by this super polite intro. Then another kid, Jack Joe, chimes in saying he is a second year. Jack breaks down the race details. It is a straight-up one-on-one showdown. Whoever loops back to the starting line first takes the crown, though he assumes Jay probably already has the whole route memorized. Just in case, they are posting crew members at every corner to keep things safe and stop anyone getting lost. Mew points out that Jay is racing the cocky loudmouth, TJ. Jay just gives a freezing look and warns Mew not to bug him about joining the crew once he wins. June tosses Jay a helmet, reminding him to protect his head. Meanwhile, Mew checks out the bike and realizes Jay completely took off the brakes, probably just to shave off weight. Are you and I seeing this? TJ keeps trying to trigger Jay, daring him to keep up on that quote-unquote junk. Mew just yells at TJ to shut his mouth and race. Getting annoyed, TJ snaps back, asking why Mew always acts so high and mighty. Then, someone shouts out that they are filming the entire showdown. The starting setup is dead simple. The second a bike gear hits the pavement, it is go time. The announcer holds the metal gear up high, telling the boys to lock in. Then, he drops it right toward the asphalt. Clink, the moment that gear smacks the ground, they explode off the starting line. TJ instantly blasts into first place, totally flexing his feather-light carbon frame. But June knows the real madness will not start until they hit top speed. He scrambles to get his camera ready to record all the action. TJ refuses to stop yapping, calling Jay's ride an absolute piece of garbage. Glancing over his shoulder, he taunts Jay to either pass him or enjoy the view from behind. Big mistake. That trash talk just fuels Jay to pedal like an absolute demon. Checking his mirror again, TJ panics as Jay suddenly closes the gap. This is not going to be a cakewalk. Jay is right on his tail now, making TJ pedal out of his mind to stay ahead. As they hit a sharp turn, TJ plays dirty, kicking some heavy traffic cones into Jay's lane. But Jay barely even blinks. He dodges street hazards every single day. Filming from the sidelines, June catches the foul play on tape and yells at TJ. The cone actually makes Jay wobble for a split second. Keeping the camera rolling, June screams at Jay to watch out for the massive danger coming straight at him. A literal car is blocking the path, and a brutal crash looks completely unavoidable. But Jay thinks fast. He uses the car as a makeshift ramp, launching into the air. He pulls off a flawless mid-air trick, making TJ absolutely furious since his dirty tactic totally backfired. Still recording, June is left completely mind-blown, knowing this clip is going to go ridiculously viral. Landing smoothly, Jay keeps pumping those pedals and gaining even more speed. Taking a breath, June is just incredibly relieved he didn't witness a terrible accident. June yells at TJ to seriously knock off the life-threatening stunts. Right after that, TJ throws out a fake apology, grinning that his foot just slipped. But Jay is way fiercer than expected. Still recording, June tracks TJ's shady movements like a hawk. Ready for another cheap shot. Honestly though, June is in pure awe of Jay's reflexes, hyping up that insane 360 spin. He seriously wishes his entire school was here to see this. So what do you and I make of this guy? Jay closes the gap in seconds, pulling right up next to TJ, completely determined to crush this clown and go home. TJ assumes Jay is just talking trash to psych him out. With a sharp, dangerous curve coming up fast, TJ is already cooking up another incredibly toxic scheme. Stick with me, you and I are about to watch the wildest race ever. Instead of slowing down at this insane turn, TJ actually guns it even faster. But Jay, he plays by totally different rules. He corners like an absolute pro, leaving TJ with a front row seat to his absolute masterclass in cycling. TJ gets to watch a flawless bike drift right in his face. Coming out of that curve, Jay is already miles ahead of him. You can literally see TJ losing his mind right now. Meanwhile, Jay is just chilling, completely in his element and soaking up the thrill. June is losing it over Jay. He never expected a drift on a bike. Like, where did this guy even learn to ride like an absolute demon? Jay handles that clunky old bike like it's glued to his bones. And TJ, he's boiling over, completely unable to close the gap. His fancy carbon bike losing to a rust bucket? Impossible. While TJ fumes, he looks up to see Jay literally waving him forward. Jay smirks, telling TJ to get used to the view from behind. This breaks TJ, sending him into an absolute frenzy of desperate pedaling. Furious, TJ screams it isn't over and he'll definitely catch up. Jay just glances back, casually roasting him by saying hitting the books won't even be needed today. He plans to wrap this whole thing up in exactly 4 minutes. Jay knows TJ is desperate to prove this race isn't over yet. Honestly, Jay thinks everyone at school is a total joke. The gap between them just keeps ripping wider. June just prays nobody gets hurt. Jay coasts effortlessly, while TJ is basically popping blood vessels trying to catch up. Furious, TJ refuses to let Jay flex on him like this. He vows to overtake him on the very last hill. But honestly, Jay is completely unfazed after hitting all those sick tricks. June is filming from behind, screaming at them to brake before the deadly drop. Plus, there's a nasty metal fence at the bottom. June is terrified someone is about to crash hard. But slowing down? Yeah, neither of these two cares about June panicking. Jay with his insane skills. Now watch closely, this is where it gets insane. Jay bombs down, lightly brushing the fence to kill his speed, and just keeps riding like it was absolutely nothing. But the guy trailing him? Total disaster. TJ picked up way too much speed on this crazy drop, and that fence is rushing up fast. He's doomed. No matter how hard he mashes the brakes, he isn't stopping in time. Tragically. Bam, he slams right into the metal, his bike flipping out from under him. June finally catches up and sees the brutal wipeout. Jay glances back, spots the carnage, and rolls over to check on him. Seeing TJ is completely wrecked, Jay just hits the brakes. With his classic cold glare, Jay basically calls him a loser and casually pedals away. TJ groans on the dirt while June sprints over to help. The scrapes burn, but his ego, totally shattered. Meanwhile, down at the finish line, everyone is just goofing off waiting. Mew is just chilling, killing time on an obstacle game. Hearing the riders are back, he gets hyped, especially since he just smashed his own high score on the app. Word spreads that the newbie finished first, meaning TJ actually lost. His crew is utterly stunned. They can't believe he got beat and start panicking because he's still missing. Mew just chuckles, thinking TJ finally got his reality check. Mew always said it's the rider, not the bike, that actually matters. He knows he has to check June's footage the second he gets back. Day locks eyes with Mew, reminding him of what he said earlier. He rips off his helmet, casually tossing it over. Day pulls up his hood, demanding Mew drop the race talk. You and I both know everyone watching thinks he looks insanely cool walking home like that. Minwoo is dying for his buddy to show up and spill all the tea. When he finally gets the news, he's totally shell-shocked. Minwoo spots Jay hauling TJ inside, shouting for a med kit. The crowd freaks out, yelling to call a doctor. Gritting his teeth, TJ is absolutely seething over this massive humiliation. Even bleeding out, his ego is huge. Angrily demanding to see whoever caused his wreck. Later, back at home, Jay walks into an empty house while his mom is working. His brother Joe immediately grills him, totally knowing he was out biking again instead of studying. Jay ignores him, kicking off his shoes while his brother yaps endlessly about college exams and wasting time. But then, Jay hears the TV. His absolute favorite cat cartoon is coming on. He literally jumps for joy over the anime, totally oblivious to slamming his toe right into the sharp corner. He rolls around howling in pain, but quickly shakes it off once the intro starts playing. That grumpy face instantly melts into pure hype. For an edgy dude, Jay turns into a total fanboy when his cat anime is on. Joe slips away to hit the showers, scrubbing off the grit from the day. Under the water, his mind starts replaying the insane race. Wild flashes of the showdown loop in his head, sparking a totally new, weird feeling inside him. Fast forward to the next morning. Checking his wheels, Jay realizes his tires are completely shredded from yesterday's madness. Not great. While he's stressing, his brother walks out. Joe asks what's busted this time, totally shocked that Jay still plans on riding that scrap metal to class today. Watching him gear up, Joe thinks he's finally lost it. Jay just tunes out the nagging about morning rides being a huge energy drain. Students need energy, man, but Jay, already saddled up, dropping a quick peace out. Joe just sighs, wondering what will become of him. Then a random cat appears, freezing him in place. And that's where we leave it today, wild right. Let's dive into this. KJ had chased that cat before, and right now, he felt that exact same urge. Meanwhile, Mia was totally rushing. She barely caught her bus, which was absolutely packed today. And while she was squished inside this sweaty bus, stuck in completely awful morning traffic, Jay was just cruising on his bike, feeling the cool breeze. Inside that terrible bus, everyone kept complaining about the mess outside. Mia zoned out, totally ignoring the noisy guys around her. But suddenly, she spotted something outside that made her cheeks turn bright red. Her crush was riding past. Just seeing him pedal to school made her completely forget how gross and miserable that crowded bus really felt. Pretty soon, the guys noticed a bike was actually beating their bus. They suddenly realized they needed a faster, way more comfortable ride too. Over in a fancy luxury car, stuck in that same traffic, a rich kid was complaining. His driver couldn't do anything but slowly crawl forward. But seeing a cyclist zooming past who would definitely beat him to school, he told his driver he would seriously rather bike than sit there. As Jay kept pedaling, the school principal, a huge cycling fan himself, rolled right up next to him. Jay glanced over and literally saw the principal. The guy casually mentioned biking was great morning exercise. Honestly, Jay thought it was completely normal for the principal to bike to school. The principal, totally ripped, always biked to work. Jay knew they had to stay careful out there, since cyclists like them usually get a lot of hate. Sidewalks and streets were super dangerous, and honestly, even bike lanes weren't perfectly safe either. Smiling, the principal said, "Enough talking, let's speed things up." Jay just laughed, joking that neither the principal nor the student council president could actually afford being late. Up at the school entrance, things were already chaotic. Students were getting blocked. One sophomore got singled out for his wild look and missing uniform. He tried sneaking past, but got totally busted because of his crazy hair color. Now pay attention, this is hilarious. The staff asked if he spilled orange juice on his head. Plus, he had no badge and no backpack. He swore he left his stuff inside. Obviously, that excuse completely failed. Right when Jay and the principal finally rolled up to the gates, they saw this whole mess happening so early. The principal asked what was going on, and the staff said they were just enforcing the strict dress code. The principal sighed, saying this was a terrible start to the morning. And weirdly, the kids getting in trouble were basically the best-looking ones there. He just wanted to protect the school's pristine reputation and make sure they dressed better. Flashing their most innocent puppy eyes, the gang absolutely promised the principal they would look sharp. Right after that, they sprinted off like total brats, but the handsome orange-haired guy paused when some gorgeous girls walked by. He literally thought to himself, since when does this school have such stunning girls? Since he was short and adorable, he caught their eyes and they invited him for lunch. The principal just watched, thinking the kid had serious charm. The janitor quickly reminded the principal about his morning lecture. Meanwhile, inside the classroom, it was completely loud. Kids chatting everywhere, and others dead asleep. Yuna showed Mia her phone, pulling up a picture of the principal with text she claimed was actual lecture material. The guy definitely had drip. Then Yuna caught Mia totally staring at someone and demanded to know why. Mia was just checking out Jay since he actually biked today. Yuna immediately teased her about being deeply in love. But when Yuna turned around, her own fanboy, basically that weird dude with the band-aid mustache, yelled her name out loud. She smacked his forehead with a book, telling him to shut up. Naturally, he thought that meant she really loved him. I know you're thinking it's pure chaos, right? Well, Jay just sat in the corner reading. Nearby, some guys were hyping up an online video of a sick bike race. Even the kids who hated bikes were totally glued to it. Mew walked past. Jay mentioned he already watched June's recording of the sick race. The girls with Mew instantly asked how he even knew the president. Honestly, Mia was super brave, always tracking exactly what was going down in class. Meanwhile, a guy crushing on Mia was totally knocked out. Everybody else looked painfully bored. Except the guys sleeping and dreaming about Yuna yelling at them. Every so often, Mia sneaked glances at her crush, hoping he would look back. Just imagining him noticing her made her blush hard. Suddenly, he did turn his head, but blankly. Honestly, he probably didn't see her and was just staring at the sky. Classes ended, and somebody spotted Jay getting ready to ride off. Dom Kang just could not resist. He grabbed Jay's shoulder and begged for a quick turn on the bike. Dom got completely ignored. He had literally no choice but to stand there watching Jay pedal away. From far away. Jade walked up, telling Dom he could never borrow it anyway because he would definitely break it. Dom finally calmed down when he heard Yuna walking over. Looking super happy, Dom asked Yuna if she noticed his glowing, perfect skin today. Yuna just roasted him, saying he was oily from sleeping through the entire period. Dom just kept pushing, telling Yuna to drop the act since he totally caught her staring at him while he was passed out. Right then, Yuna kicked the back of his leg and sweetly told him to shut up. On the way home, Jay was cruising until a weird noise came from his tires. Jay pulled over, quickly realizing his tire was totally flat. And right on cue, TJ and his whole crew pulled up, asking if Jay needed help fixing that piece of trash. Jay, barely recognizing TJ with his glasses and bruised-up face, asked if TJ even remembered him. Dom was walking away feeling great, convinced he won Yuna over despite his sore leg. Since he slept all day, he seriously had to sprint to make it to work. That is when Dom spotted Jay down the street, the same dude who rejected him earlier. Dom noticed Jay wasn't alone, and a bunch of thugs were totally cornering him. So how does this play out? TJ asked if Jay slept well because his own head throbbed, and Jay, stick with me here, things are getting wild. Jay asking who TJ was made the guy completely lose his mind. Kicking Jay's bike, TJ screamed that winning with absolute trash did not make him a big shot. Seeing his precious ride trashed, Jay snapped. Meanwhile, TJ kept whining about how Jay had completely embarrassed him in front of the whole crowd with that junk. And now, Jay was just tuning him out. Honestly, Jay was totally done listening. He threw a straight punch just to shut TJ up for wrecking his bike. Honestly, Jay did not look like much of a brawler, and that punch barely left a scratch. But oh man, it was definitely enough to make TJ's crew see red. So they jumped him. They beat Jay down and straight up crushed his glasses. Getting real close, TJ sneered, asking how Jay planned on showing his face at school tomorrow. He asked if Jay finally remembered him. But nope, Jay still drew a total blank. Furious, TJ cracked a smile, saying maybe another brutal beatdown would jog his memory. Right on cue, Dom Kang stepped up, totally grabbing the spotlight with his crazy confidence. Looking at him, clueless TJ just rolled his eyes, thinking Dom was some random scrub. Dom smirked, laughing at how cowards always need 3 guys just to jump one dude. With that mic drop, he tossed his heavy backpack straight to the dirt. Popping his knuckles, Dom declared he was joining the party. TJ laughed, asking if he was lost. But then, TJ's buddies leaned in, totally panicking, asking if he recognized him. "You are going to want to watch this. Sweating bullets, his friends warned him Dom was terrifyingly dangerous. Whatever they whispered completely killed TJ's vibe. Backing down fast, he shot Jay a dirty look, swearing he absolutely hated the losers from their school. TJ spat that Jay better thank Dom for saving his skin today. Before things got totally out of hand, the bullies bylayed. Seeing them run, Dom realized something pretty funny. He was scary enough to make 3 guys evaporate on the spot. Dom reached out a hand to help Jay up, but our stubborn guy just totally blew him off. Dusting himself off, Jay insisted he was fine and told Dom to mind his own business. Totally confused, Dom just scratched his head, wondering what was up. Why did everybody treat him like a giant walking red flag? Meanwhile, nearby, Mino was strutting around with 2 girls, ready for some karaoke. But suddenly, right up ahead, TJ bumped into him. Still salty, TJ cracked a sarcastic joke about how nice having deep pockets must be, or else Mino would never pull 2 girls like that. But Mino completely ditched his awesome karaoke plans the second he spotted Jay down the street. Apologizing to the super bummed-out girls, Mino promised a rain check. Over by the alley, Dom was busy lecturing Jay, pointing out his trashed bike and his seriously busted face. Rushing over, Mino freaked out over Jay's bruises. What in the world happened? Did he actually throw down? Dom broke it down, explaining how some rival school punks were jumping Jay until he crashed the party. Hearing this, Mino immediately knew exactly what went down. Those bullies from earlier were definitely out for nasty payback. Annoyed, Jay asked Mino if his curiosity was finally satisfied, then basically told everyone to back off. Feeling awful, Mino apologized for dragging Jay into his mess. Dom just brushed it off, telling Jay to forget it and completely dropping the whole team topic. Still, Dom was super worried about Jay's bruises, pushing him to hit up a pharmacy. Stubborn Jay refused, but Dom insisted he was looking rough and needed real help. Dom offered to literally walk him home, but Jay fiercely told him to back off. Fed up with this total wall of stubbornness, Dom decided to get extreme. I know what you're thinking. Did he really just punch him? Yes, one swift chop knocked Jay out cold. Shocked, Mino screamed that this was totally uncalled for. Dom shrugged, claiming Yuno would have done way worse. Freaking out, Mino could not believe Dom just smacked an already injured dude like that. Dom kept it real. If he had not stepped up, they would be standing around arguing forever. Hauling Jay over his shoulder like a sack of potatoes, Dom told Mino to grab the wrecked bike. When Mino asked about their destination, Dom completely blanked. No clue. Neither of them actually knew Jay's address. The nearby girls totally judged Dom for looking like a thug. Meanwhile, Mino sprinted into a pharmacy for some heavy-duty medical supplies. Waiting outside, Mino caught Dom accidentally dropping something on the dirty pavement. Afterward, they just stared awkwardly at unconscious Jay, totally clueless. Without his home address, they were completely stuck. Walking down a random nearby street, they spotted a kid glued to his phone screen showing a cute white cat. Turns out, this was K-Joe, Jay's little brother, just killing time before his next class. Some loud talking nearby totally grabbed his attention. Spotting them, the poor kid assumed they were massive bullies from Sunny High. Then he noticed the knocked-out guy. Squinting closer, K-Joe recognized that bruised face. Wait a minute, it hit him like a truck. That was his older brother. Freaking out, he shouted, instantly making Dom and Mino snap their heads around. Hearing the shout, Dom swore this kid just yelled Jay's name out loud. Mino heard it too. Terrified, K-Joe froze in pure panic as these 2 huge guys stared him down, terrified he was their next victim. Did he know Jay? Dom totally suspected they were related. But dodging eye contact, K-Joe straight up lied, claiming he did not know the guy and just kept walking. Dom knew he was not crazy. He absolutely heard this kid say Jay's name. Staring super closely, Mino realized this random kid looked incredibly familiar, like a spitting image. Boom, the pieces clicked. Dom and Mino realized this kid was literally a mini, unbruised version of Jay. They realized K-Joe was lying. He was totally Jay's brother. The guys were absolutely mind-blown that seeing his sibling completely knocked out. K-Joe just casually strolled away. Annoyed, Dom and Mino demanded to know why this kid was playing it cool while literally fleeing the scene. Scooping up unconscious Jay again, Dom led the charge while Mino grabbed the bike. They tracked K-Jo down, finally clearing the air that they were actually Jay's buddies. Called out for ditching his brother, K-Jo awkwardly confessed he only bolted because he thought these two giants were going to totally wreck him next. Stepping up, K-Jo said he would take care of Jay now. Hearing that, Dom suddenly felt pretty bad about forcing the whole situation. What do we learn here? True friends carry you home. K-Jo smiled, leading this chaotic squad straight to Jay's front door. All right, let's jump back in. They drag Jay to his room, and Dom Kang immediately starts playing doctor, patching him up and cleaning his forehead the best he can. Now it's totally up to Jay to recover. Meanwhile, his brother KJ just can't believe Jay hangs out with these weirdos. Suddenly, Mino points out the strange bandage under Dom's nose. Dom claims it's top secret. But Mino, yeah, he's way too nosy. He straight up rips the bandage off. Seeing the hilarious mustache hiding underneath, Mino cracks up, warning that the principal would absolutely wreck Dom for that. Then he asks KJ who else is home. Glancing around, Mino realizes it's just your completely average dude's bedroom. He notices KJ glaring at them like a human security camera, clearly making sure these goofy guys don't steal anything. Every time KJ opens his mouth, Mino thinks he sounds exactly like his annoying older brother. Anyway, the guys keep snooping around until they stumble on an old framed photo of Jay's uncle alongside a tiny childhood bike. Mino leans in way too close to show Dom, making the whole vibe awkwardly hilarious. Squinting at the picture, Dom quickly figures out the cute kid definitely isn't that annoying little brat KJ. Seeing the kind face, they realize it's actually Jay. Mino points out Jay's had that bike forever, wondering aloud why Jay showed up to the race after playing it so cool. Dom thinks it's super weird that Mino is whispering. He stares at him. Suddenly, Dom starts hallucinating that Mino's face is literally morphing into Yuna's. He thinks he's losing his mind because the resemblance is just too crazy. Blushing hardcore, Dom wonders if he's just extremely lonely these days. Honestly, neither he nor Mino were tight enough with Jay, yet to know he and Yuna are actually twins. Mino assumes it's just a random family picture, completely blanking on who the kid is. Bam, Jay wakes up covered in goofy band-aids, aggressively asking why they're in his house. The guys just share a look and innocently ask if he had a nice nap. Getting up, Jay storms over and snatches the photo back. Furious, he yells at them to keep their dirty paws off his stuff and leave. Mino quickly holds up a mirror to Jay's face, explaining they only dragged him home to play nurse and fix him up. Looking insanely proud, Dom brags that he doesn't need a thank you for his hard work. Then, rip, he violently tears all the band-aids off Jay's face. Jay sighs, saying he's way too exhausted to argue and just wants them gone. Dom dramatically grabs his shoulder, asking if he's seriously kicking out his bros like that. Now watch this. The guys decide Jay is being totally ungrateful. So naturally, they do what any good friends would do, they hack into the Pandora's box known as Jay's computer. Jay snaps, yelling at them to step away from his desk, but they totally ignore his panic. While Mino physically pins a struggling Jay to the floor, Dom clicks through all of Jay's extremely boring study files. Smirking like an absolute villain, Dom promises to show Jay the beautiful, dark path of the internet. He says Jay should be thanking them, while Jay continues thrashing around in sheer panic. Out in the hall, KJ decides he better head to class before these three idiots drain all his brain cells. Dom finally pulls up the secret folder. He asks if everyone is ready, right as Jay's brother suddenly throws the door wide open. Boom, the brother instantly sees they've accessed the forbidden world. All the guys huddle closely around the glowing monitor. Turning bright red, the brother gets furious that these clowns downloaded sketchy junk files onto the shared PC. Complaining about the mess, he nervously peeks out the door for intruders. Before the brother can even delete the files, Jay suddenly storms back in. He just came back to pass on a message from their mom. Meanwhile, Mino and Dom are buzzing about the video, thinking KJ is actually cool enough to hang with. They agree to link up at school tomorrow since everyone has stuff to do. Suddenly, Mino remembers he's totally late for his after-school part-time gig. Mino really wants to end the chaotic day with a bang. When his phone suddenly buzzes, he gets a massive idea. You know, things are getting real here. Mino calls an absolute emergency crew meeting tonight, making it super clear that TJ's gang must attend. Later on, the whole squad gathers, but people are heavily whining about the timing. Catching the bad vibes, TJ flashes a toxic smirk. He tells them to go cry to Mino about it. The crew starts whispering, wondering if major beef just dropped between those two guys. Playing dumb, TJ laughs it off, saying Mino always acts dramatic. But June steps up, reminding everyone that Mino built this crew from scratch and demands respect. June insists there's a solid reason for the late-night summon. TJ just mocks him, claiming he's only protecting his school buddy. That completely gets under June's skin, but before he can bite back, he spots Mino walking into the alley. Mino strolls up with a dead-serious face, radiating absolute boss energy. Unfazed, TJ just keeps running his mouth with terrible jokes. Looking beyond annoyed now, Mino adjusts his jacket, casually slides a ring off his finger, and says it's time to settle this. Boom, he straight up decks TJ in the jaw. The hit instantly drops TJ to the concrete, leaving the entire gang absolutely stunned and confused. The crowd starts freaking out, demanding answers. Cold as ice, Mino tells TJ to stop trashing the crew's name and walk away while he still has legs. Everyone gasps, totally shocked. Bleeding and furious, TJ demands to know why he got hit. Mino just glares, telling him to drop the fake innocent act. He says he won't tolerate toxic losers attacking their own members. Wiping his face, TJ smirks, asking if he's crying over that idiotic student council president. TJ claims it's super obvious the other guy started the whole mess first. Then he crosses the line, loudly declaring that Mino is the one who should quit. It hits Mino instantly. This snake is trying to steal his spot. Nearby, June watches the entire situation turn violently toxic. So what do you and I make of this drama? TJ claims the crew hates Mino. Mino immediately dares anyone with a problem to step up to his face. Come along with me. One by one, they started venting, completely annoyed about these sudden, unannounced meetings. They argued that since TJ wasn't officially on the roster, maybe the guy actually had a point. Plus, kicking someone out without a group vote? Totally uncool. Especially when Minu dragged everyone here just to boot TJ out. Smirking, TJ turned to Minu, soaking in all the crew's obvious frustration. He threw serious shade, pointing out Minu hadn't even been riding lately because of his busted leg, claiming he just chased girls all day. He mocked Minu, telling him to just buy his own school club with his daddy's cash. June immediately stepped in, telling them to chill because that was way out of line. But Minu, he just smirked and proposed a winner takes all race for a spot on Team Zephys. June instantly knew this was a garbage idea. TJ loved the idea. He laughed, wondering how Minu could even pedal with that bad leg, but figured it was an easy win. TJ accepted, demanding a 3-on-3 crew battle. The rules were set. 3 riders each, losers walk away forever. But Minu, the absolute madman, said he would take all 3 of them solo. June wasn't having it. He jumped in, knowing Minu's leg couldn't handle that stress, but crickets from the rest. Nobody else stepped up, locking in a wild sunny high versus mountain high clash. TJ just laughed, asking if anyone else wanted to join Minu's sinking ship. He gladly welcomed anyone dumb enough to leave with them. Dead silence, nobody moved, so the battle lines were officially drawn, sunny high against mountain high. TJ was grinning ear to ear about this 2-on-3 handicap. Minu, TJ, and June just glared. Now watch closely, because things are about to get totally ridiculous as we cut to a super boring, snooze fest class. One kid was completely knocked out, dreaming he just gathered all the magical orbs to summon a massive dragon. And yeah, this mythical beast could grant literally any wish. So what does the dude wish for? A perfectly shredded Chris Hemsworth body. The dragon was like, easy mode. Just eat this one super specific magical mushroom. Pumped, he took a huge bite. Absolute agony hit him, but boom, total transformation. Suddenly, every girl in his path was basically swooning on sight. He turned into this ridiculously gorgeous guy rocking a classic Chesterfield coat. You know, the kind only super tall dudes can wear to hide a massively ripped, hidden physique. Every girl admired his flawless posture, wishing for a guy just like him and immediately asking if he was single. Playing the smooth talker, he joked he should charge them per heartbeat. Crazy enough, they all agreed, literally pressing his face into their chests. Hey, at least he got to hear a bunch of hearts beating. The dream was so cozy, he was literally drooling all over his real-world desk. Slowly, a voice started calling out his name from far away. Blinking awake, he saw his classmate standing there. He was totally crushed, realizing that absolute paradise was nothing but a dream. Xinjiang asked what was up while he kept mumbling about girls pressing his head. She pushed for details, but he quickly played it cool, changing the subject and thanking her for the milk carton. He always called her Little Water, a nickname she honestly hated. Chugging that milk, he tried to manifest all that calcium directly into a massive, real world. Right on cue, a buddy rolls up and throws him into a super tight, friendly headlock. The ambush makes him completely choke, spilling his milk everywhere. Nearby, some dude is trying to take a girl somewhere, but her friend is totally blocking his path. So he films the hilarious bromance instead, catching every single glorious second. Walking past this absolute chaos, June asks Mew what his actual game plan is. Super obvious, Mew plans to win and boot TJ right out of the crew. But his buddy is stressing over how Minwoo can even pull that off with a busted leg. Laughing it off, Mew claims his doctor said some light cycling would totally help his recovery. But trust me, you are gonna want to see this. His friend warns that a relay format race is no joke, putting them at a massive disadvantage. Stick with me here, things are getting messy. Minwoo's buddy suggested asking the student council president, Jay, for help. Mew hated that idea. Minwoo refused to drag Jay back into their team business, leaving his friend completely stressed. Meanwhile, our student council president was bored out of his mind, just doodling tiny bicycles in class. Jay was totally zoned out when someone suddenly dropped an envelope right on his desk. Glancing up, Jay realized it was Mia. She looked right at him, handing over some medicine for his banged-up face. She was obviously worried, but classic Jay just coldly replied that he never asked for her help. Seeing him brush off her kindness like that, Mia snapped and slammed her hands on the desk. She went off, telling him that when a girl tries to help out. Showing real interest, the bare minimum he could do is say thank you. She was super ticked off because Yuna had been heartbroken all morning over Jay's nasty bruises. Mia got totally flustered by the whole situation. But then it got even crazier when Dom Kang barged in, slapping Jay right on his injured back. Dom Kang threw his arm around Jay in a chokehold, teasingly asking if the guy was tired from staying up all night. Yuna was stunned. She had zero clue these two even knew each other. Dom joked that they actually bonded through a computer screen. Yuna was completely lost by that weird comment, and honestly, Mia was just as confused. Suddenly, a dude called out for Jay, saying some upperclassmen wanted to chat in the hallway. Dom laughed, joking that Jay was getting way too popular, then just shrugged and happily bounced over to Yuna. Like always, Yuna practically showered Dom with affection. Rumors were already flying around school that these two weirdos had actually started dating. While a group of girls gossiped about Yuna and Dom, they totally missed the third-year senior standing right behind them. When they finally noticed him, they freaked out. But June was super chill about it. The girls scurried off, whispering about how gorgeous he was, while one spilled some tea that he supposedly wasn't into girls at all. June definitely heard that and felt super awkward, since the rumors were totally fake. But his chill vibe vanished the second he spotted Jay's seriously beaten-up face. He still had no clue about the whole TJ drama. Suddenly, it clicked in June's head. This was exactly why his buddy Mew had been raging at TJ. Seeing Jay's totally blank stare, June realized the guy didn't remember him at all. He honestly wondered if Jay had short-term memory loss. So, June literally wasted 5 minutes standing there, awkwardly explaining exactly who he was. Watch closely because this is where it connects. Jay finally recognized him. June then opened up, explaining that he needed a huge favor, spilling the details about how Mew completely lost it over Jay's injuries. June admitted he hated dragging Jay back into this gang mess, but there was no way he could just abandon his bro. All right, you and I are about to dive into an insane turf war. Jay bluntly refuses to help the crew, but June begs him, explaining that if Minwoo loses tonight, Minwoo gets booted from his own squad. Jay coldly asks why he should even care. Still, June drops the details. The showdown goes down tonight around 8 at night at their usual turf. He tells Jay that if he somehow changes his mind, the crew will be waiting. Cut to the track, where everyone is already hyped and placing their bets on the winner. The loser gets entirely exiled, making the tension absolutely thick enough to cut. On a bench, June tightens his shoes. Mew feels super cocky, calling out that it is time to begin. But honestly, they are 8 minutes late. June realizes he is just stalling. Without Jay showing up, their chances are looking incredibly bad. TJ and his crew are feeling unstoppable. 3 versus 2, that massive numbers advantage gives them an instant win, right? June spots that TJ actually installed a brake after wiping out last time. He also calls out TJ for swapping to an 8mm carbon front wheel. TJ, being his usual toxic self, just smirks and roasts Mew for not riding a bike in literally forever. Laughing, TJ warns Mew to chill out before he wrecks his other leg too. Annoyed by the trash talk, Mew demands they start. The ref goes over the rules. But everyone totally gets distracted when a girl pulls up on a scooter. Her flashy entrance instantly grabs every single dude's attention. Pulling off her helmet, she is thrilled to make it on time and introduces herself as Harry Lee. She is a hit internet commentator for a cycling show on Paprika Television. Hearing rumors about this underground race, she had to show up. Harry's gorgeous face literally has all the boys blushing hard. She politely asks if she can live stream their intense showdown today. Mew flirts, saying it is an honor to be filmed by someone so pretty. TJ is hyped, fully planning to humiliate Mew in front of thousands online. Harry quickly secures her cell connection and launches the stream. Fans go crazy watching a live, high-stakes street race that will literally decide someone's fate in the crew. The ref, who totally spaced out earlier, snaps back to reality. He announces this is a classic relay race where bikers must pass a baton. No boring sticks here, they use glowing tech bracelets. Slap them hard enough. They snap right onto the wrist. He shows them the exact sweet spot to hit. Basically. Now pay attention, because here is where the stakes get real for our guys. Drop the bracelets at the checkpoints and the first to finish wins. Losers, exiled forever. The ref asks if they are truly ready to compete. He looks a bit confused. With a 3-2 disadvantage, this race is completely unfair from the jump. But the leader brushes it off, telling everyone to stop stressing. He claims their extra numbers literally do not matter at all. They agree, Zero crying about fairness later. The event begins, and the first 2 racers step up to snap on their glowing armbands. For the first leg, Mina goes head-to-head with TJ. Sparks are already flying. Harry Lee hypes her chat, screaming that Sunny High versus Mountain High is officially going down. She hypes up her chat, promising to broadcast every single epic moment. Meanwhile, TJ is completely ready to crush the rival school and teach those losers a painful lesson. Mountain High sends out Hyung Min first, facing off against June. Mew points out that this starting zone is packed with insane curves and tight corners, meaning raw bike speed will not give a huge advantage here. Honestly, June is stressing hard, wondering if his busted leg can survive the final 2 brutal sprints. The biggest headache: June has 0 clue if TJ is riding second or third today, and he desperately needs to predict their lineup to survive. Out of options, June's buddy agrees to run support on this first lap, letting June save his energy and totally focus on his upcoming ride. June tells his bro not to burn out too fast, since he is fully prepared to dominate the rest of this brutal course. The racers aggressively line up at the mark, while everyone else glues their eyes to the live stream on their phones. Harry gets her camera angled perfectly. The ref shouts that, exactly like their past underground races. It is go time the exact second the gear hits the dirt. The starter holds the metal gear by his fingertips, dangling it up high, preparing to drop it into absolute chaos. You feel that adrenaline? We are officially off to the races. Clank, they explode off the line, and June actually takes a really solid early lead. Harry Lee chases them on her scooter, helmet cam broadcasting everything live. You can clearly see the blue armbands representing Mountain High, while that glowing red band stands for the Sunny High crew. Mountain High instantly steals the front. The chat is absolutely exploding with hype, as fans from literally everywhere start flooding the stream with crazy reactions. Back at the finish line, everyone is sweating, tracking every single pedal stroke on their screens. But despite grinding hard, June lacks Mew's elite biking skills, and he is clearly struggling to keep up. That Sunny High rival starts heavily trash-talking, mocking June to see if this pathetic speed is his maximum limit, even though June is clearly pouring his heart out. The Sunny High dude pedals like a total maniac to close that gap, and he is dangerously close to overtaking. The rival thinks June is secretly cooking up a trap, since June just ignores the insults with cold silence. Deciding to just crush him now, the rival violently cranks up his speed. Trying to secure his first-place spot, he pedals like his life depends on it. But weirdly enough, the distance between him and June just will not grow. Even though he is technically winning, the mental pressure is destroying him. June is sticking to him like superglue, threatening to blast past him at literally any second. Boom, the rival suddenly realizes June is drafting off his slipstream. June might be dead silent, but the guy is practically an evil genius on two wheels. Harry spots the massive slipstream play too. She immediately hypes the chat, explaining how June uses his opponent's body to break the wind. This elite move reduces harsh air resistance, a classic drafting tactic used by pro cyclists and bikers. Our girl calls it an absolutely top-tier, brilliant strategy for a simple high school tournament. So what do you and I take from this? Never underestimate the quiet guy. He is just trailing, waiting for the perfect strike. Overtaking June will not be easy. Let's dive into a bike race that will absolutely blow your mind. After Hyung Min, everyone thought it was impossible. But that rival racer, he bet everything on this final hill advantage. As the Sunny High guy cruises right past June, he actually thanks him for breaking the wind. That totally ticked off June's rival, but the worst part, that crazy overtake just handed Sunny High the lead. From here on out, it is pure, raw muscle power. The leader clicks into a heavier gear, absolutely exploding with energy. The guys falling behind spot the move right away. They know exactly what that gear shift means. The announcer goes wild. Sunny High's red armband racer just snatched first place. Absolute shocker. He completely smoked his rival on the uphill climb, leaving that Mountain High guy choking on his dust. The gap blows wide open, way too massive to close now. Jun's friends are glued to the live stream, completely losing their minds over how epic he is. Meanwhile, the second-place dude is totally baffled by June's insane climbing speed. Up ahead, the two guys waiting for the final relay leg are getting into position. You can hear Harry Lee's scooter buzzing in the background, a dead giveaway that the finish line is super close. Minwoo tells his rival they better get ready and wishes him luck, totally convinced the guy might actually catch up. Minwoo is basically just talking big, having zero clue who is actually about to cross that line first. Mew turns to Jiwon, straight up asking if their guy can even beat June. And then, total disaster strikes. Mew looks up and realizes that is definitely not his teammate flying toward them, it is June. June points forward, and Mew finally spots the incoming racer. Jiwon starts sweating bullets because this puts their whole squad at a massive disadvantage. Jun is riding solo in first place, no rivals in sight. Mew watches with pride, knowing exactly what his boy can do, and Jun throws back a confident grin. Hyped up on that energy, Mew tells his rival the finish line is right there. June quickly snaps off his bracelet, totally locked in and ready for the perfect handoff. June wishes Mew luck and then blasts off, completely dead set on winning. The announcer sees Sunny School's second racer grab the bracelet and steal the lead. Here is where the tension spikes, so don't blink. Their online crew swears if Mew keeps this pace, it is game over. Meanwhile, Harry tails right behind Sunny's second rider on her scooter. She sees their guy holding first place, absolutely miles ahead of the other dude. In just a few seconds, he is going to smash right into the third and final section of the track. His whole squad is watching the stream, totally hyped by his insane speed, definitely knowing Mew and Jun are crushing it together. Back on the sidelines, Jun chugs an energy drink to recover. But he looks super distracted. Jun is just praying his buddy does not go too crazy and totally wreck his injured leg. That thought keeps eating at Jun, flashing back to the horrible accident where Mew severely wrecked his leg. Jun cannot shake the bad vibes until he sits down and spots a very familiar face. Out on the track, Minwoo is pedaling like an absolute beast. He knows losing means Jun gets kicked off the squad too. But suddenly, his bad leg starts pulsing, and the pain shoots straight to unbearable levels. Up ahead waiting for the handoff, TJ is sweating bullets for his turn. He gets super mad when some random fan jokes that he might be the guy getting booted from the roster. The rival school is already winning, and TJ is seeing red, completely disgusted by how smug those guys look right now. TJ spots a bike and thinks his guy is finally here for the pass. But wait, he catches a glimpse of that red bracelet and instantly realizes it is the wrong dude. It is the rival pulling away with an insanely huge lead. Everyone is freaking out because he is moving so fast it looks like a literal motorcycle. TJ is absolutely raging at his teammate. The guy should have been there ages ago, totally ruining their chances. Miles back and completely out of gas. TJ's teammate is fighting for his life just to pedal. You and I know how bad this looks. Fans are glued to their phones, realizing Sunny School just hit the final stretch. Mountain School is still painfully stuck on their second leg. Somewhere else, a girl is drying off after a shower, glued to her screen to catch the updates. The announcer points out the massive gap between the teams. This totally makes Mew's old friend smile, proving he still actually cares about their past bond. Back on the track, Mew is fighting through pure agony, speeding completely out of control. Suddenly, Mew spots a tiny cat playing with a ball right in the road. He slams the brakes to dodge it, but the force completely shreds his already messed up leg. Absolute nightmare. His leg gives out, and Mew eats pavement with a brutal crash. The announcer screams out what happened, and the entire live stream chat just breaks down in pure panic. Jun is completely shattered hearing this. Down on the asphalt, Mew stares up, finally accepting that his race is officially done. The announcer rushes in for first aid and tells everyone the broadcast is going on pause. The screen cuts to black, leaving thousands of fans hanging in absolute suspense. Jun always knew Minwoo was crazy for racing on that busted leg, totally blind to the crash. TJ is pedaling like a maniac, convinced he can still make a comeback. But then he looks up and sees the wrecked bike, Mew in the dirt, and the announcer trying to help. And honestly, TJ actually smiles. Sick, right? But in his head, this total disaster was basically guaranteed from the start. Riding injured was always a massive gamble, but TJ feels like the luckiest guy alive right now. Meanwhile, Mew is groggy on the asphalt, squinting until his blurry vision finally snaps back into focus. Harry Lee runs up asking if he can even stand. But when Mew turns his head, he spots Jay, who just casually asks why he is taking a nap on the road. Mew groans, telling him to stop staring and just pass on the message. But Jay leans down and literally snatches the race bracelet right off Mew's wrist. Both Mew and the announcer are totally confused. Without a second thought, Jay snaps the bracelet straight onto his own wrist. Flashback time, he already left dinner for his little brother with a note saying he was just fixing his bike. But let's be real, his kid brother totally knew Jay was sneaking off for something huge. Jun starts rapid-firing the race rules, while Minwoo keeps yelling that Jay does not have to do this. Jay just looks dead serious, telling them not to misunderstand his vibe. He claims he is only racing to settle a score. But you and I know the real truth, and so does Minwoo, who just smiles. Let's jump into this crazy race. Mew tosses the helmet to Jay and begs him to wreck those absolute losers. Jay just stares at it. wondering if he actually has to wear it, probably thinking it smells awful. Mew notices him cringing and whines that his own gear smells totally fine, but Jae is just being super picky. June sees Minwoo and Jae bickering like little kids, so she just chills for a second before getting ready to hop back in. She grabs her scooter but spots a super familiar bike. Meanwhile, way out front, TJ is literally singing out loud near the finish line. TJ thinks this whole struggle is basically a joke. The race feels way too easy for him. He actually stops being mad at Mew and just feels kinda bad the guy tried to ride with a busted leg. TJ thinks finishing totally solo is kinda boring, but back there, Mew stands up. Grinning like crazy, he knows TJ should be terrified because an absolute monster is coming. TJ looks back, completely shocked someone is actually catching up. The speed is unreal. He squints and boom, it is Jae. TJ's eyes bug out. What the heck is this guy doing here? Reality check hits fast. This is not going to be easy anymore. TJ starts pedaling for his absolute life. Knowing if he slacks now, the rival school steals the win. Jae is riding like an absolute beast. Honestly, TJ feels completely terrified, like he is being hunted down by a crazy attack dog. The finish line is so close. TJ refuses to take an L here. He guarantees nobody can pass him on the upcoming downhill stretch. To secure the win, he just has to bomb the hill faster. Feeling Jae breathing right down his neck, TJ sweats buckets but sticks to his game plan as the drop starts. But deep down, he knows it will not be that easy. Watch closely here. As TJ bombs the hill, brutal crash flashbacks hit him hard. Pure fear completely paralyses the guy, making him slam the brakes and lose his entire lead. Meanwhile, Jae is a downhill demon. Brakes? Yeah, those literally do not exist for him. Mostly because his bike does not actually have them. Jae just locks in, throws a sick rock walk, and hits a completely insane 180-degree drift. For Jae, just a regular Tuesday. He nails the trick and blasts forward, leaving TJ totally in the dust. TJ is absolutely furious. Knowing one slip-up means he gets booted off the team. But wait, the guy in the lead? Jae sighs super loud and actually stops. TJ sees Jae parked dead ahead, just staring holes into him. He screams at Jae, asking what his deal is and to move his stupid bike out of the way. Jae just stands there glaring. Panicking, TJ slams his brakes extremely hard, praying he can stop before smashing right into Jae. But spoiler alert, that does not happen. Jae stays completely chill, showing absolutely zero emotion. TJ skids to a screeching halt barely inches away. Seeing red, TJ screams, demanding to know if Jae is literally insane for suddenly stopping. Jae calmly replies he is only here because TJ kicked his ride yesterday. Then, a wildly weird question from Jae catches TJ completely off guard. Jae wants to settle this beef once and for all, just to see who is actually faster. If TJ really wants a real challenge, then bring it on, because Jae really wants payback. He challenges TJ to a totally raw, no-rules sprint straight down the final stretch to the finish line. Looking dead at him, Jae asks if that fancy carbon bike is actually as fast as it looks. TJ laughs. There is no way that piece of absolute junk beats his top-tier ride. Jae stares right back and says when he loses, "Do not blame the bike, blame himself." TJ hates where this conversation is going and yells at him to shut up and ride. They lock into position, push off hard, and the real race takes off. Both dudes are determined to fly and crush the other. At first, TJ's sweet carbon frame pulls slightly ahead by just a few tiny millimeters. TJ smirks, seeing his opponent lagging, but Jae was literally just warming up. The real battle starts now. Jae stomps the pedals with insane power, rockets forward, and overtakes him. I know what you're thinking. TJ is absolutely stunned, losing his sure victory to some random guy out of nowhere. Back at the start line, the squad notices Mew and June walking back. Everyone starts whispering, wondering if Mew is actually okay or seriously hurt. Mew admits he feels horrible about ruining the race since his leg was still busted. June reminds him she literally warned against doing something so stupidly reckless. Pushing an injury like that was totally irresponsible. Looking super bummed out, Mew agrees that racing Hurt was a massive mistake. Harry says Mew is super lucky the crash was not worse at that speed. TJ's two teammates look incredibly smug, fully believing they already won the match. Until they squint and notice someone riding right next to Jay with a red flag. They are totally confused about who that even is. Their crew only has 2 guys, so who is this? Jay has completely taken the lead, and there is literally nothing TJ can do about it now. For TJ, it feels like the end. It is totally game over. He is losing his mind, wondering why his super expensive gear got crushed by absolute junk. At the finish line, everyone is totally shocked, finally recognizing the flag guy. It is the literal president of Sunny School's student council. The exact dude who raced TJ before, and yeah, he is not exactly friendly. Protests explode immediately, everyone screaming it is totally unfair since it was a 2 versus 3. Jay crosses the finish line looking completely indifferent and bored. Meanwhile, TJ looks absolutely crushed, tasting bitter defeat against the exact same guy yet again. Jay pulls off his helmet and drops a cold line. It seems the junk was not his bike. TJ absolutely loses his mind, realizing Jay called him the junk. TJ looks completely ready to throw punches, but the crowd quickly reminds him that Jay is not even on the actual school team. Nobody gets why this random outsider joined Sunny School for the big race. A non-member crashing an official match literally makes 0 sense to anyone there. Mew steps up, clarifying he totally accepted it would be a 3 versus 2 match regardless of the outcome. He openly admits that the exact second he wiped out on the pavement, the race was basically over for them. So what do you and I take from all this? Mew just smiles at TJ, rips the team emblem completely off his jacket, and dramatically tosses it to the dirt. Stick with me here, we are about to watch Mew's entire world crash and burn. Before leaving, Minhu glanced back, hoping they were happy now, and told them to take care of the crew. Mew threw a heartbreaking look at his teammates, fully knowing he couldn't do a single thing to fix this mess. June grabbed his shoulder and they walked off. Mew felt awful about the loss. Because of it, June had to quit the squad too, though honestly, June couldn't care less. They could just start a fresh crew together. Right after, Jay tossed a helmet over. Mew caught it, thanking Jay for having his back out there on the track. Jay didn't even say a word. He completely ignored Mew, turned around, and rode off. Typical Jay, he literally hadn't changed one bit. Meanwhile, Harry Lee spotted something weird about Jay. He was riding a hand-me-down bike from someone she actually knew. Meanwhile, Mew kept walking, even though his leg was absolutely killing him. And June offered a ride home, but Mew brushed it off, hating being bobbied, and muttered that he lived super close anyway. Cut to TJ, the guy literally won but looked miserable. This was the second time he'd tasted that bitter sting of failure. His buddies asked if he was tagging along, but TJ was completely zoned out, lost in his own head. He kept replaying the absolute humiliation, dreading what everyone would say about his big loss. Suddenly, a guy walked up, loudly mocking that sour look on his face. Ready to throw hands, TJ jumped up, but instantly froze when he saw who it was. Vinny Hong smirked, asking if TJ was dumb enough to challenge him. Instantly, TJ's mood completely flipped to excitement. Man, it had been forever since they last hung out. Grinning, TJ asked what the heck Vinny was doing here. Vinny just laughed, firing back and asking if it was illegal to show up. TJ quickly backpedaled, saying he didn't mean it like that. Vinny then explained he'd watched the whole race and noted that Mew's leg actually seemed perfectly fine out there. But TJ's crew totally trashed Minhu, calling him a massive joke. They bragged to Vinny about winning the race, making sure to mention that Mew got completely booted from the squad. Vinny joked that when the cat is away, the mice play. Now pay attention, this is where the whole dynamic shifts. Those 3 opponents, they actually seemed pretty chill. Vinny casually pointed out that since Minhu's squad fell apart, it was basically game over. Meanwhile, TJ was just gloating that Mew was finally kicked to the curb. Vinny was genuinely curious about Mew's next move, admitting he looked pretty solid during the race. Still, he dropped a warning that Mew better watch that injured leg. Out of nowhere, Vinny casually dropped a bomb. He was quitting his own crew too. TJ just stood there, totally baffled by what he meant. Fast forward a bit, and Mew finally arrived outside his massive house with June. He looked absolutely crushed. Losing the race was bad, but getting kicked out of his very own crew? Soul-crushing. He kept blaming his bum leg. Right then, a luxury car pulled up. Mew locked eyes with his dad and mumbled a greeting, but his old man instantly yelled, demanding why he was outside. His dad was furious, demanding answers when Mew was supposed to be hitting the books. His stepmom stepped in, trying to desperately defuse the bomb, brushing it off as classic teenage rebellion, but then she spotted a nasty cut on his face. Acting all gentle, she stepped closer to check out the fresh wound, asking if he'd wrecked his bike again. Acting on pure instinct, Mew snapped, telling her to get her hands off him right now. She gasped in pure shock, completely blindsided by his disrespect, especially right in front of the boss. Seeing red, his dad straight up slugged him in the face, screaming that he was acting like street trash. "You saw that coming, right? This family is toxic." His dad demanded respect, but Mew went off, accusing his stepmom of just being a gold digger replacing his real mom. Absolutely enraged, his dad fired right back, screaming that Mew was a massive hypocrite who only used him for cash and that expensive bike. At the top of his lungs, his dad ordered him to hand over his wallet and every single credit card. Staring him down, Mew violently threw his wallet in the dirt, yelling he didn't need a dime. That was the absolute last straw. Boiling with rage, his old man literally kicked him to the curb. Up in the window, Mew's twin sister watched the whole disaster unfold, totally heartbroken. Stepping back into the shadows, she whispered to herself that this was all her fault. Cut to the middle of nowhere, Minwoo was slouched by a random vending machine. Sitting in the cold with just his bike, the harsh reality hit him. Zero cash. Homeless. What an absolute nightmare of a day. Broke, booted from his own squad, and now officially homeless. And just to rub salt in the wound, a perfectly happy family strolled right past him. Seeing those laughing kids brought back a flood of memories, back when he had his mom and sisters. Honestly, picturing his mom's smiling face was the only thing keeping him sane right now. He and his twin used to be super tight, and he'd sworn an oath to always protect his sisters and mom. Back in the day, Mew was just a genuinely sweet, happy kid living in a house full of real love. But now, all Minwoo could do was slump on that bench next to his bike and bawl his eyes out. The tears just wouldn't stop falling, leaving him completely broken. Suddenly, he heard someone pop an energy drink from the vending machine, wiping his eyes. He looked up and saw a guy staring. The dude mockingly asked if Mew was crying like a giant baby over losing a race. Sniffling, Mew defensively lied, swearing he wasn't crying. The guy just gave him a massive, judgmental side-eye. Without another word, the dude turned and started walking off. But Mew was desperate. He needed a massive favor. Sprinting to catch up, he finally got the guy to stop, who annoyedly asked what he wanted. Putting on a fake, hopeful smile, thinking there was no way he'd say no, Mew straight up begged to crash at his place for just one single night. The dude literally just kept walking, completely ghosting him. But Mew wouldn't quit, loudly promising it was only for 12 hours. He was flat broke and freshly kicked to the curb. The guy coldly snapped back that it wasn't his problem, basically cementing his status as an absolute demon. Even so, Minwoo kept begging like his life depended on it. But Jay wasn't having it. He flatly said he had to go study and told Mew to go bother his actual friends. Defeated, Mew muttered that he literally had nobody else to call. Looking dead in his eyes, Jay coldly replied that he wasn't the right guy for the job either. In that freezing second, it finally hit Minwoo, they were just classmates, not friends. Slapped by this brutal reality check, Minwoo realized he was totally alone. No squad, no home. So what do we learn here? Every person around him was just chasing his family's clout. Honestly, not one person actually gave a damn about him. Their only loyalty was to his dad's massive bank account. They only faked being friends because he was the heir to a giant corporate empire. And honestly, Mew had been faking his own personality just to survive it all. His dad lived in a world of pure lies and fakes, and sadly, that was the only reality Mew knew. Stick with me here. Because of this, Mew started hiding his true self, wearing countless masks. But whenever those masks came off, total isolation. As a kid, he finally found an escape from the loneliness. A bike. It became his ultimate refuge, sparking this massive passion for cycling that led him to form his very own crew. At first, the squad was just a bunch of people who genuinely loved riding. They went by the name Team Zephys. But sadly, Mew lost his team too, and things hit rock bottom when the rain started pouring. Out of nowhere, Mew spots this little cat, soaked and shaking from the freezing cold. Looking closer, Mew actually recognized the little guy. He squints, trying to figure out if this was the exact same furball that made him wipe out before. For a split second, Mew was annoyed. But that anger instantly vanished the moment he noticed its injured paw. Total compassion kicked in for Mew. Holding a grudge wouldn't fix anything, so he shared his food instead. Mew noticed the little guy was super gentle, eating right out of his palm. Checking it out, Mew realizes the cat literally can't walk with that busted paw. He scoops up the shivering furball, realizing they had one big thing in common. They were both completely alone. Meanwhile, a kid with glasses and an umbrella is just heading home. But when he gets there, he finds some random dude standing in the pouring rain right outside his place. The kid recognizes Mew as one of the loud knuckleheads hanging around his older brother, totally confused why he's there. Mew recognizes him right back, sarcastically asking if he's that annoying little pest from earlier. But honestly, the kid's eyes were glued to the cat. That was the real priority here. Back inside the house, the younger brother stares out at the rain, thinking it over. Feeling kinda bad, he grabs an umbrella and heads back out to check on the guy. But plot twist, he sees his older brother already walking inside, carrying the cat. Totally confused, the kid asks where the heck this animal came from. His brother explains the poor thing was freezing out there, so he brought it in. Hearing this, Mew actually feels a bit of respect for the guy showing real compassion. But the boy immediately shuts that down, saying he only saved the cat. He just dragged Mew inside because they happen to be a package deal. You and I both know expecting warmth from that irritating kid is a mistake. Meanwhile, Jay just watches his little brother carefully dry off the cat and grab it some food. Then Jay turns around, face to face with Mew standing awkwardly in his hallway. Mew promises Jay he will dip as soon as the rain clears up, keeping completely quiet after that. Out of nowhere, a towel smacks Mew in the face. Jay points straight to the bathroom and tells Mew to go shower. Mew is surprised, but you can tell he appreciates it, even playing it cool. Jay quickly adds that this is a one-time thing, so Mew shouldn't expect any more hospitality. Still, Jay's little brother thinks it's weird letting Mew crash there, even though Mew swears he's not homeless. Stepping out of his shower. Mew feels like a new man. Warm water and a clean house. Unbeatable. Mew loudly announces he's starving and just straight up raids their fridge looking for a snack. Right then, Mew hears footsteps. A woman's voice calls out, asking whose random bike is parked outside, and when she walks into the kitchen. Jay's mom is completely stunned to see Mew casually digging through her fridge. Startled, Mew politely greets the lady. But upon seeing Mew, she instantly recognizes him as the son of a massive local VIP. She quickly whips up a whole meal for him, telling Mew to make himself at home. Mew is thrilled, especially since saucy fried chicken is literally his favorite. All smiles, Jay's mom asks him how he managed to score such a valuable friend. Jay deadpans and simply replies that they aren't even friends. Jay's little brother chimes in, reminding mom she literally always says friends are useless. Trying to shut him up, Jay's mom chucks a chicken drumstick right at her younger son. She orders her younger son to finish eating quickly and go study since exams are coming up. But right then, Jay's mom hears a tiny meow. Glancing at the stairs, she spots a cat and demands to know where it came from. The little brother, already scolded, catches Mew's reaction and points right at him, claiming it was Minu's brilliant idea to bring it inside. Then, Jay's younger brother throws all the blame on Mew and runs to hug the kitty, proudly announcing he named it Jack. Now watch closely here. Jay and his mom realize the boy already named the animal, Slapping on a fake smile, Jay's mom subtly tells her younger son they'll return it once their guest leaves. But the kid, face covered in chicken sauce, still clutching the cat, he just nods along, totally pretending everything will go exactly how his mother wanted. Spotting the bruises on Jay and Mew's faces, the woman asks if they were fighting. To avoid answering, Jay instantly chugs his soda, using it to keep himself from talking. The heat falls on Mew, who awkwardly stammers that he and Jay fought some random boys. Jay's mom goes absolutely furious, swearing she's gonna hunt those responsible down, shouting that nobody insults someone this valuable. She demands to know exactly what school the boys go to. But Mew says he isn't sure since they were wearing casual street clothes. Scrambling, Mew frantically calms her down, promising her it won't happen ever again. Jay silently stands up, drops a quick thanks for dinner, and heads to his room, watched by Mew and his mom. She immediately complains that Jay's grades are dropping. She drops the hammer. If this continues, Jay's biking days are permanently over. Jay just replies that he understands and vanishes upstairs to his room. Mew walks in shortly after since he's sleeping there. Spotting Jay clicking away on the computer, Mew asks what he's doing. Jay just shoots Mew a glare and stays dead silent. 10 seconds later, Mew is sprawled all over the bed, groaning about how full he is and how insanely soft the mattress feels. Drifting off, Mew mumbles that Jay's life honestly sounds super stressful too, with his mom constantly demanding academic perfection. But Mew adds he's actually jealous. At least Jay has a mom who's around to spoil him like that. Jay flips off the light and literally uses his feet to kick the intruder off his bed. Mew whines that he can't sleep without a bed and begs to share. Annoyed, Jay makes a spot on the floor for himself. But surprisingly, Jay strikes up a conversation, asking when Mew first got into cycling. Mew replies it was back during childhood. He saw some boy riding in the park and thought it looked amazing. Mew figures that kid must be a total pro today. And right then, the light bulb goes off. Mew suggests forming a cycling team together. Jay just tells Mew to shut up and sleep because he's being a massive bother. So what do you and I take from this? Minwoo tells Jay to be way more positive. Oh, and Mew casually drops he's crashing here for a few more days. You and I are jumping right back into the chaos. Jay stands up, totally confused, while Minwoo casually explains that Mom gave the green light for him to crash indefinitely. Jay is definitely not thrilled about this setup. Meanwhile, Minwoo just turns to the corner and casually texts his sister, asking for a fresh wardrobe delivery. Mew texts his sister that he is totally fine, chilling at Jay's place for the night. Naturally, she asks for the exact address so she can drop off his gear. Mew quickly passes out, but come morning, a delicious smell floating from the kitchen completely grabs his attention. Still half asleep, Minwoo drags himself out of bed to investigate. Blinking through blurry eyes, he totally thinks an old grandma is cooking. But once his vision clears, he realizes it's just Jay rocking a ridiculous cat print apron. Jay casually mentions his mom left early for work. Minwoo absolutely loses it. He bursts out laughing at the hilarious sight, straight up asking if this is some weird cosplay. Joking around, Minwoo swears he needs a picture for social media. But honestly, he is laughing way too hard to even keep his phone steady for the shot. Minwoo then asks about Jay's little brother, who is outside playing with Jack the cat. Mew thinks it is super weird for a kid to be up this early just for that. Looking at that awesome dish, Mew totally thinks Jay made a special breakfast just for him. He even grabs a spoon until the devastating realization hits. That food, not his. He demands to know where that plate is going. Jay deadpans that it is for the cat. Mew throws a fit, whining about starving and demanding Jack's gourmet breakfast. Jay brutally tells him to cook his own food. Meanwhile, across town, the principal of Sunny High is getting dressed and gearing up for another long workday. His phone buzzes, making him wonder who would call this early, but hearing his granddaughter Shelley's voice, total game changer. He swells with pride, eager to catch up with her. Shelley drops the news. She is heading back to Korea and wants to visit. The principal beams, saying he absolutely cannot wait. She promises to call the second she lands. Watch closely, because you and I need to remember this gorgeous blonde girl with her bike. Meanwhile, back at the house, Mew is already up early doing some serious morning maintenance on his own ride. Mew gets totally spooked when his sister Yuna suddenly shows up with the clothes he begged for yesterday. Annoyed, she immediately asks what on earth he is up to. He shrugs, saying he is just fixing his ride after yesterday's rain. Yuna, who honestly holds a serious, deep-rooted grudge against that stupid bike, shoves the clothes into his hands, ordering him to drop the stubborn act and come home. She promises to handle their dad, but Mew is totally not buying it yet. Blindsided, Yuna points out how weird it is that he would rather crash here. Plus, she never expected an icy guy like Jay to actually be this nice. Mew shrugs it off, sure, Jay is stubborn, but they are vibing. Yuna offers him a sweet ride to school in the family car, but his pride, way too huge, he refuses. He insists on biking and even tells her she should start pedaling too. Rolling her eyes, Yuna completely ignores him, yelling at him not to be late as she leaves. Yuna hops in the car and zooms off, leaving her brother alone with his precious bike. As Mew waves goodbye to her, Kay, who is creeping there the whole time, asks if that is his girlfriend. Startled, Mew defensively snaps back that he would never date someone so ugly, clarifying it is just his sister. He demands to know how long Kay has been spying. Completely ignoring him, the kid just starts chatting up Jack the cat. Kay brutally roasts him, saying a freeloader crashing on their couch obviously could never pull a girlfriend. Mew fumes, thinking if this brat were his own little brother, he would have totally smacked some respect into him by now. Smiling innocently, Kay waves by, telling Jack to guard the house while he heads to class. Left alone with the furball, Mew spots Jay heading out for school. Jay tries to ignore him, but eventually glances over when Mew asks if they are biking to class today. Jay just shrugs, asking why he cares. Mew admits he is totally broke for the bus and wants to ride together, mostly because doing a team ride is just way cooler. Jay hits him with a deadpan stare, but soon enough, both are cruising down the bike path. Not used to this route, Mew complains nonstop about the terrible layout, dodging random trees and fire extinguishers. Jay, completely unfazed, he rides this crazy obstacle course literally every single day. I know what you're thinking, are they skipping class? Mew actually suggests ditching, but one look at Jay's icy glare shuts that wild dream down instantly. Mew realizes Jay is riding without a helmet and totally offers to buy him one. Then it hits him, he has zero cash. Yeah, never mind, mission aborted immediately. Used to his constant yapping, Jay tells him to shut up and just pedal. Mew hypes up a race, but Jay shuts it down, saying he only races his own records. School is the same old loud, chaotic vibe. Nearby, Mia seems totally blown away by whatever spicy gossip Yuna is currently spilling. Mia admits she never thought she would see Mew and Jay actually vibing. Yuna totally agrees, joking that those two only just started acting like real friends recently. Mia cracks up, warning her that phrasing it like that could start some seriously weird rumors. Yuna rolls her eyes, shifting the topic to their weekend student council meeting at a local cafe. Mia absolutely loves the cafe idea, but she pauses, wondering if strict President Jay will actually approve an off-campus meetup. Yuna smirks, explaining that the girl power on the council can totally pressure him into it. Thrilled, Mia realizes this is the perfect setup for a secret date with her beloved Jay. Yuna clarifies she is doing her a massive solid, but Mia has to seal the deal herself. Blushing hard, Mia stammers that she absolutely does not need that much hand-holding. Suddenly eavesdropping, Dom Kang pops out of nowhere. He casually suggests crashing their little meeting and basically begs to tag along. Super annoyed, Yuna snaps that he is not even on the council. Why would he go? He quickly volunteers as her personal assistant, but she just completely rejects his silly idea. Refusing to quit, he desperately asks her out to a zombie movie afterward. Watching them banter, Mia smiles, thinking these two actually make a super cute couple. Yuna brutally shoots him down. Zombies are totally not her vibe. Right then, Mia glances out the window and spots Jay and Mew pulling up on their sleek bikes. Seeing them, Mia tells Yuna she is craving a bike too, especially with this perfect weather. Yuna smirks, suggesting Mia should totally use that as an excuse for Jay to teach her. Dom Kang butts in again, loudly declaring he will buy a bike too. Yuna just deadpans that she absolutely does not care. That's where we leave it, and trust me, you and I are gonna want to see what happens next. Minu struts in, catching all the girls' attention, while two guys read a model magazine. Right before the class leader interrupts, cutting off their fun and demanding order in the room. Super annoyed, the guys couldn't even fight back. Right then, they spotted Mew casually walking into the classroom, parking his flashy bicycle straight in the corner. Confused, one of the dudes asked him why on earth he brought a bike indoors. Mew just scoffed, asking if the guy had any clue how much this ride was worth, refusing to leave it out front. When the classmate asked for the price tag, his jaw practically dropped at the insane number. He thought that amount was absolutely ridiculous, joking the thing had to be forged from solid gold. But honestly, the guy still really wanted to take it for a spin. Until he saw how crazy high the seat was and gave up immediately. Meanwhile, Yuna popped into Jay's class to hype up the next student council meeting. She casually mentioned the whole group wanted to host it at a local cafe and asked his opinion. Big shocker, Jay totally hated the idea. But Yuna didn't care at all, locking in the plan and skipping away humming. Later on, she texted Mia that the trap was set, hyping her up to dress nice and completely wow him. Just thinking about impressing him made Mia turn bright red. She never dressed up. Back in her bedroom, panic mode was officially activated. What the heck do you even wear to a cafe date in disguise? Her entire wardrobe exploded across the bed as she desperately tried on outfit after outfit, stressing out hard in front of the mirror. Hair, a mess. Makeup, no clue. Her total fashion meltdown was abruptly cut short when her phone started ringing out of nowhere. It was Yuna calling, asking if she was good to go because she was already pulling up. Full of absolute panic, Mia lied and said she just needed a couple more minutes to finish. With zero time left to do things right, she randomly grabbed a cute dress and threw together the fastest emergency glow-up in Manhwa history. Let's pause right here. We've all felt this exact kind of weekend boredom. Over at Jay's, Minu was whining about being dead broke. He just stared out the window at happy couples and Kay petting some random street cats. Spotting Jay putting his shoes on, Minu immediately asked where he was sneaking off to. Jay bluntly said he had a mandatory student council thing. Mind blown, Mew asked who the heck does schoolwork on a weekend, begging to tag along just to escape the boredom. Jay instantly shut him down, making it clear he was flying solo. Totally defeated, Mew held the front door open, promising not to burn the place down and begging Jay to bring home some ice cream. Jay just gave him the silent treatment and walked away. Over at the meeting cafe, the vibe was super chill, with just a handful of randoms sipping coffee. One cute couple was clearly having a great time, but over at Yuna's table, super awkward energy. She spotted Dom nearby, losing his mind over how good the bagels were. Running late, Mia finally showed up looking super embarrassed, apologizing since everyone else was already waiting. Her massive glow-up completely short-circuited Dom's brain. He literally had no idea who she was. Mia felt extremely awkward until she snapped that her voice hadn't changed. Yuna was losing her mind over Mia ditching the glasses, begging her to wear contacts all the time. Blushing hard, Mia thanked her but swore it was just a one-time thing. Even some guy sitting nearby with his girlfriend couldn't help but say out loud how gorgeous Mia looked right now. His girlfriend instantly smacked him, calling him a total creep. Watching them bicker, Dom playfully asked Yuna if she wanted to fight like an old married couple too. She completely ignored him. Meanwhile, Vinny was sitting nearby, looking ready to punch someone. His crew pointed out some snobby guys who kept staring at them like trash. Vinny caught the other table whispering about his looks, specifically his totally different colored left eye, mocking him like it was some cheap cosplay contact lens. Sick of their garbage whispers, Vinny decided it was time to get up and start some real trouble. He snatched a coffee cup right off their table, took a fake sip, and loudly trashed how sour it tasted. That instantly made the whole room freeze. So what do you and I take from this? Never disrespect Vinny. He dared them to pluck out his eye to see if it was fake. Trust me, things are about to explode. Let's jump straight into the chaos, guys. The dudes at the table panicked, begging him to chill. But Vinny, he cheerfully kicked their table, sending one guy flying right out of his chair. All that insane noise instantly grabbed Dom Kang and his crew's attention. Vinny wasn't done. He pinned the fallen dude with his foot, taunting them for round 2. Then, oops, he splashed boiling coffee all over another guy, totally swearing it was an accident. A girl nearby yelled for someone to step in and help, but everyone else just stood around, thinking it was just everyday drama. Dom Kang saw the burning coffee and grabbed Vinny's arm to stop the madness. Yeah, Vinny did not like that at all. He glared at Dom, totally ticked off. The tension spiked instantly. Dom Kang stepped up, trying to play the peacemaker and calm everyone down. But Vinny just kept pouring the hot drink, emptying the cup. This was payback for the guy trashing his wild hair and unique eyes. Now the bully was literally crawling backward on the floor, crying for the cops to arrest this psycho. Vinny casually flicked Dom Kang's hat, asking what his deal was. Dom Kang didn't even flinch. He just locked eyes with the crazy dude who touched his cap, refusing to lift a single finger against him. Right then, Yuna's voice broke the silence. Dom Kang turned his head, listening as she begged him to keep his fists down. Just this once, no brawling. Dom ran a hand through his hair. He kept watching Vinny, but the furious vibe was completely gone. Over on the other side, Vinny's buddy finally stepped in to stop a bloodbath. He quietly whispered that they needed to bounce before things got totally wrecked. Vinny, being an absolute menace, actually stuck his tongue out at Dom. Turning away, he promised they would definitely settle this later in private. Ignoring the trash talk, Dom Kang slowly bent down, grabbed his cap and slid it back on. Then he walked over to Yuna, proudly announcing he didn't throw a single punch today. Yuna kept her cool, but gave him a tiny nod, saying he did a good job. Watch closely here because the scene flips. High heels, a designer suitcase. Every guy in the crowd was totally paralyzed, just staring. Jaws literally dropped. This blonde bombshell was drop-dead gorgeous, turning heads left and right. Even the girls had to stop and stare. Stick with me here. Couples are bickering over wandering eyes, while this one overly confident dude decides to step up and shoot his shot. After slicking back his hair, he brags to his buddy about the gorgeous European girl. Feeling super cocky, he claims his basic French is more than enough to win her over. He tells his friend to chill, boasting his plan is 99% pure charm and 1% vocabulary. His buddy totally doubts him, thinking this guy needs a massive reality check since she is out of his league. Meanwhile, the blonde woman notices those creepy stares, super annoyed by how totally predictable these guys are. He walks up trying to flex his French, but she just casually replies in Korean. Totally weirded out, she humors his annoying questions about her background and hometown. He hits her with the classic, "I saw an angel while drinking coffee" line, and then immediately asks if she has a boyfriend. Smooth, right? Handing over his phone, he confidently asks for her digits so they can chat later. Unbothered, she simply grabs it and starts typing something on the screen. Just as some random guy casually pedals by on his bike, she is suddenly seen typing a message on her own phone. Then, 2 scooter guys appear. The dude driving is literally rocking an Iron Man mask. The guy on the back points ahead. Their main target is the blonde with that super expensive suitcase. They speed straight toward her while she is still holding his device. Without caring, she hands it back, promising to text him later on. Mr. Confident thinks she is totally just playing hard to get and celebrates his supposed win. But the second he checks the screen, he realizes it is a completely fake number. You and I must watch closely. While he checks the phone, those guys speed past and snatch her bag. Grabbing their new trophy, they floor it instantly. The poor woman tries to fight back, but it is totally useless. Meanwhile, that fast-pedaling hooded cyclist spots the whole robbery. Even though he looks like he is rushing, this guy clearly has a very specific target locked in mind. The director's granddaughter, Jay, sees the cyclist completely zooming past right after the scooter theft goes down. Instantly, she pedals at max speed, desperate to find out his true plan. Nearby construction workers are just chilling and smoking on their break. Suddenly, Jay blasts right past them, borrowing a worker's hard hat. Now that the cyclist is properly protected, he can pedal at lightning speed without risking his life. Inside the cafe, the cleanup crew is organizing tables for the next crowd. The staff is thinking customers should just quietly sip their coffees and leave instead of creating massive messes everywhere. Some folks are super annoyed just watching them clean up the ridiculous mess. Meanwhile, the young guy soaking up his girlfriend's attention thinks that if things had not settled down, he totally would have stepped up and fought them himself. Those intense memories from his high school days, as the legendary bloody prey, would have definitely resurfaced. Dom Kang quickly claims he didn't actually want to fight, just scare them. Despite his tough talk, the girls are completely swooning over his wild bravery anyway. Yuna isn't buying it though. She tells him to drop the tough guy act, saying real bravery isn't just acting impulsively without thinking things all the way through first. But Mia jumps in because she has been dying to ask him a question. She wants to know if he is finally ready to reveal his true feelings for her. Laughing super awkwardly, she quickly backtracks. What she actually wants to know is the real reason he always rocks a tiny band-aid on his upper lip. He doesn't find the joke funny at all, pointing right at his lip to confirm. Yuna just laughs, telling him someone was definitely bound to bring it up eventually. Mia is practically dying of curiosity about what he constantly hides under there. She promises to keep it a secret, so he agrees to show her, demanding absolute silence. I know what you are thinking. A badass scar, right? Nope, he finally rips off that band-aid and reveals the grand secret, just a tiny mustache. The girls are totally weirded out that a high school kid can already grow facial hair, but one of the boys thinks it is insanely cool. He loves it so much he daydreams about growing his own beard to look like an absolute unit. Mia is honestly impressed he grew a full stash in high school. The buddy starts guessing he must have a secret, magical hair growth gel that instantly gives any dude an incredibly manly, viral appearance. He practically begs Dom Kang to share the secret sauce just once, but Dom totally refuses. He claims that you can only find it hidden on the black market. The girls remain completely baffled why anyone would grow a mustache just to cover it with tape. He explains the mustache makes him look way older for his intense part-time job. If the school teachers ever found out, he would have to shave it off immediately. That is exactly why he hides it with tape. Mia suddenly realizes why he is always sleeping in class. His job completely drains his energy. Another curious girl wonders what on earth his dad does for a living to make him work so incredibly hard. He claims his dad just handles basic administrative work for an organization, but to any normal outsider, it definitely does not look that way at all. Honestly, his dad looks exactly like a terrifying mafia boss dealing with other heavyweight criminals. When those guys gather in a room, the vibe is pure nightmare fuel, acting like totally composed gangsters. Despite that scary vibe, his dad is returning to Korea today. The girl wants to know if he actually handles the administrative side of things like a totally normal office worker. He just bursts out laughing, desperately trying to lighten the mood and change the subject. Desperate to escape this awkward chat, Mia grabs a ticket and excuses herself to buy more coffee. She bounces up happily to grab drinks, completely unaware someone is secretly snapping photos of her. Clearly, they are totally captivated by how stunning she looks in this exact moment. Meanwhile, back on the streets, our student council president is pedaling at absolute max speed, rocking a borrowed hard hat and hunting down those thieves. The scooter guys think they scored the ultimate jackpot until they check their rearview mirror. They are completely mind-blown to see someone actually chasing them on a bicycle. You and I both know chasing a motorcycle on a bicycle is absolutely wild. However, all right, stick with me here. You and I are about to watch the wildest chase ever. Checking their mirrors, the thieves see him gaining. They figure a dude on a pedal bike cannot catch a motorcycle. But Jay just pedals harder. He weaves through heavy traffic, locking his eyes on the motorcycle that swiped the blonde lady's purse. This guy eats obstacles for breakfast. He is effortlessly hitting ramps, hopping over low walls, and dodging cars like an absolute pro. Nothing slows him down, so taking a crazy shortcut to cut off these crooks, yeah, absolute piece of cake. He is so dialed in that he literally starts riding on top of a brick wall. Nearby, some kids are kicking a soccer ball around. A stray ball flies straight at our guy on the wall. The kids are completely mind-blown, thinking this dude is from some secret bike ninja squad. Pedaling on a wall? Insane. They are instantly obsessed, deciding right then and there that bikes are way cooler than soccer. Jay just keeps grinding on that wall until the motorcycle is back in his sights. The thief admits he panicked for a second, but then laughs it off as a total joke. But that smug grin vanishes the second he sees a freaking bicycle take flight. Using the wall for crazy momentum, Jay literally launches into the sky, flying right over some kids eating their ice cream. The kids stare in pure awe at the flying bike dude. The thieves, they are equal parts impressed and absolutely terrified. Total madness. It is wild seeing someone ride with zero fear. Jay literally chucks his whole bike at the motorcycle to stop them, and the kids think it is the coolest thing ever. Now watch closely, because this is where it gets good. Jay crashes into the boxes with the thieves. He glares as they scramble away, ditching the bag. They definitely do not want another chase. Soon, Chell pulls up in her white car, panicking and asking if he is okay. He has a nasty scrape on his forehead, but the helmet hides the worst of it. She begs to take him to the hospital, but he just casually hands her the purse, grabs his wrecked bike, and carries it off. The thing is totally unrideable now. Chell keeps insisting, totally stressed he might be seriously hurt, but realizing he will not budge, she just warmly thanks him for the rescue. Jay whips out his phone and makes a quick call, letting someone know he is skipping the meetup because of an accident. On the other end, Yuna freaks out, asking if he needs help. Dom Kang overhears and immediately wants all the fresh gossip. Yuna tells the crew Jay wrecked his bike and cannot make it. This totally catches Mia's attention, and she instantly asks if he is okay. Yuna says he sounded totally chill, though he kept the details super vague. Some guy chimes in, joking that Jay probably just made up a fake excuse. Yuna shuts that down quick. Jay never ducks his responsibilities. The squad agrees to hang out a bit longer. Mia looks super bummed out and excuses herself to the restroom. Staring into the mirror, she feels like getting dressed up was pointless, but she still prays Jay is safe. Stepping out, some random dude approaches her. He introduces himself as CJ Kim, claiming he works for the super famous SC magazine. He says he has been watching her vibe, and she is exactly the model they need. He tells her to hit him up if interested. Sliding her a business card, he says to call anytime. Mia is totally starstruck, staring down at the fancy card in absolute shock. Mia, Yuna, and Dom Kang say goodbye to the crew, promising to meet up at school. Walking together, they talk about how much it sucks Jay missed out, especially since Mia dressed up so nicely. Yuna hypes her up, trying to boost her mood. I know what you and I are thinking, there will definitely be other chances. Yuna asks about the random restroom guy, and Mia explains the wild scouting situation. Yuna checks out the card and realizes that Fashion Magazine is incredibly famous. She figures the talent scout must be totally legit. Meanwhile, back at Jay's place, Mew is chilling with a music show while the cat smacks a ball around. Hugging a pillow, Mew complains that staying home alone is super boring. Cut back to Jay. He is lugging his busted bike through town until he finally steps into a specialty repair shop, politely excusing his messy entrance. Behind the counter is a cool girl rocking a military cap and fresh tattoos. She warmly welcomes him, and Jay explains he needs major bike repairs. She instantly recognizes him from race day and asks if he remembers her from the footage. But checking his blank stare, she realizes he has absolutely zero clue. Classic Jay, the dude has a serious talent for forgetting people. He just wants his bike fixed. But she ignores the bike and starts patching up that nasty cut on his forehead. Jay is super annoyed, wanting her to focus on the repairs, not his face. He stubbornly insists the bike is priority number one, even after she bandages him. Taking a good look at his ride, she realizes it is completely wrecked. The fork and front wheel, total garbage now. Thankfully, the main frame somehow survived the crash. That is a massive relief considering he basically kamikazed the bike into those thieves. And even though this tattooed mechanic is gorgeous, Jay is completely zoning out. His eyes are glued to a photo of his uncle on the wall. It instantly triggers deep flashbacks of the legendary Tour de France final stage. The race was reaching its crazy climax. Jay remembers staring at his computer screen, watching history happen. A Korean cyclist was actually leading the pack. But then this English beast named Mark hits the gas, instantly overtaking him. They are in an absolute dogfight, sprinting straight toward that finish line. Jay remembers his uncle's heavy advice: if you have a real dream, chase it. Back then, little Jay claimed he wanted to be a doctor. But his uncle called him out, saying the dream had to be his own, not his parents'. Jay argued he was just a kid whose only job was studying. His uncle said studying is way too boring to be a dream. Makes you and me think, doesn't it? Stick with me here because this flashback sets up everything. Jay knew studying mattered, but finding a real passion, that was actual living. So, he asked his uncle about his biggest dream. With a huge smile, the uncle said he wanted to conquer the global cycling world, even if it seemed completely impossible. But he wanted it so bad. He genuinely believed hard work could beat anything. And guess what? He became the first Korean cyclist ever to win that final stage. Jay totally remembered watching that epic race. Right until his parents nagged him about having the computer on, demanding he finish homework and go to sleep. He shut down the PC feeling super peaceful. His uncle actually pulled it off, proving that literally nothing in this world was impossible. Those childhood memories snapped back when Harry asked if Jay knew the guy. She pointed out he wasn't exactly a superstar in Korea. But out there, cycling is no joke. Jay's uncle was a total national legend who took first place in massive Asian tournaments. Harry added that he even won the final stage of the French tour, every rider's absolute dream, Manhwa. Then she stared right at Jay, asking if he knew him. Jay casually dropped the bomb. Manhwa was his uncle. Harry totally knew it. She recognized that beat-up asphalt training bike instantly. She even pointed out the custom name tag on it, since pro riders always name their gear. The bike was literally stamped Manhwa. That got Jay curious. How did she know his uncle? Turns out, Harry was such a massive fan, she literally ran his exclusive fan club. Anyway, getting back to business, Harry figured out the repairs. The whole front end was trashed. She told Jay to come back in 2 days. Jay looked super bummed about leaving his ride, but he agreed. Harry suddenly told him to wait up. She tossed him a flyer for a crazy street league long-distance championship. Figured a guy with his skills might want in on the action. First place gets $100,000 and a ticket to internationals. Jay instantly refused. Harry just laughed, saying to hit her up if he and his crew changed their minds. Jay doubled down. He had exams next month, no way. Still smiling, Harry said no sweat, just grab the bike later and make sure to hit up a hospital. Jay just walked off. He started patting down his pockets, finally realizing his wallet was gone. Cut to him chilling at home, bored with music, totally clueless about it. Meanwhile, Shelley's grandpa was absolutely over the moon to see his favorite granddaughter. He just kept saying how much he missed her. Now watch closely, because this is where the plot gets spicy. Shelley snooped through Jay's dropped wallet, saw his school ID, and instantly asked Grandpa to enroll her right there. Fast forward, and Mew totally freaked out seeing Jay's bruised-up face. He panicked, asking if the dude had been in some horrible accident. Annoyed and keeping it brief, Jay just grunted yes. Mew was baffled. How does this guy get wrecked every single day, and where was his bike? Jay said it was at the repair shop. That's when Mew realized the bike had taken some serious damage too. Mew looked super depressed, knowing Jay couldn't ride with him for a bit. Riding to school alone tomorrow was going to absolutely suck. Meanwhile, Jay's little brother slept on the rug with Jack. Next day at school, everyone instantly mobbed Jay. They kept asking if he was badly hurt. Dom King, acting like his absolute best bro, asked if he was okay. The whole cafe crew had been sweating bullets yesterday. He made sure to loudly point out how worried Mew was. Standing right there, Mew slapped a hand over Dom's mouth to shut him up. Yuna demanded Jay spill the beans about what actually happened. Jay, yeah, he hates the spotlight. He just brushed it off as nothing serious and told everyone to get back to their textbooks. Suddenly, the homeroom teacher walked in, telling everyone to sit down. He clapped his hands, demanding full attention. He needed total silence for a massive announcement. Starting today, they had a brand new exchange student. He called Shelley inside, telling her not to be shy. You guys know what happens next, right? The confident blonde strolled in, and the whole room went dead silent. The teacher broke the ice, explaining that Shelley had transferred all the way from England. She'd only be in Korea for 1 semester, so he told everyone to play nice, asking for a quick intro. She said her name was Shell, and she loved traveling and cycling. The class absolutely lost their minds. An actual angel just dropped into their room. Yuna just cringed. Yuna hated how pathetic the guys acted. Dom Kang thought she was pretty, but nowhere near as hot as Yuna. Meanwhile, Shelley's main target didn't care about the hype at all. Instead, she spotted the real reason for the chaos. She saw the school director hiding, peeking into the room to check on his precious granddaughter. He was sweating, realizing this class was packed with hungry wolves eyeing his little Shelley. Then, the janitor completely busted him. Caught him red-handed. Inside, the teacher was scrambling to find Shelley a seat, but she confidently smirked, saying she'd handle it herself. She locked onto her target, walked right up to him, and since he ignored her, she leaned in and kissed his cheek. Absolute shock. Mia looked completely crushed. The guys, mind blown that the new girl locked lips on day 1. Outside, the director was foaming at the mouth with rage, praying that punk didn't kiss back. The janitor literally had to drag his crazy self away. The teacher freaked out over the wild behavior. Meanwhile, Jay. So what do you and I make of this? Jay just wiped his face, totally confused. Shelley smiled, finally thanking him for saving her bag. Stick with me here. Shelley hands over his dropped wallet, claiming she kept it completely safe. Locking eyes with the guy next to Jay, Shelley asks to sit there. Completely intimidated, he scrambles, saying he does not mind at all and it would be super rude to refuse. Yuna realizes Jay missed yesterday's meeting because of Shelley. Meanwhile, Mia is fuming, thinking that public classroom kiss was totally uncalled for. Over here, June is checking out a race flyer when Mew zooms past him. June asks where he is rushing to. Mew yells that they will talk later because a brand new exchange student just transferred in. June tries to share something big, but his friend is not even listening. The whole class is buzzing about the nerd kissing a blonde angel, but June drops the flyer thing for now, planning to mention later that Jay is entering their favorite tournament. Meanwhile, Minu bursts into the classroom totally out of breath, hunting for that lucky nerd. But Jay's desk is already swarmed by guys interrogating him. They want to know exactly how he met such a gorgeous girl. The girls are obsessing over Shelley's hair, dying to know her connection to Jay. Shelley, glancing at Jay, sees Mew waving and introducing himself from class 3. Shelley smoothly plays along, saying that is exactly what she meant to ask, and it is nice meeting him. Mew grabs Jay by the shoulder, demanding a quick chat. But Jay, cold as ice, tells him to get lost and come back later because he is way too busy. Mew yanks his arm, telling him to stop dodging and just spill the beans, even for a single minute. Shelley just watches them bicker. Mew grills Jay, asking how long they have been dating and why he is moving so fast. Without missing a beat, Jay bluntly states they are not together. Mew thinks he is messing around and demands the real story. Jay flatly explains that Shelley just showed up and kissed him out of nowhere. Mew finds the random kiss super sketchy. He demands to know why Jay never mentioned her before, especially since the two of them are roommates. The class misunderstands, thinking Jay somehow stole Shelley from Mew. Trying to save his pride, Mew frantically explains they have it all wrong. A kid from the school paper instantly snaps a picture to capture the drama. Meanwhile, some orange-haired guy creeps up and sniffs Shelley's hair. She lightly smacks his face away. Mia, watching this entire circus, suddenly stands up. Now pay attention, this part is heavy. Mia is completely crushed by the classroom gossip. It instantly triggers her worst memories of being brutally bullied by her own classmates. She remembers one awful day when they went way too far, throwing her books and smashing her glasses. Totally devastated, she panicked because those frames were expensive and she was blind without them. Out of nowhere, Jay walks up and asks for her prescription. Turns out their vision matched perfectly. He casually handed over his backup pair. He always carried spares because he was constantly breaking his own glasses anyway. That is exactly how they met in middle school. She knew Jay sucked at talking to people and hid his feelings, but he was genuinely kinder than anyone. That was the exact second she fell for him. Expressing her feelings was incredibly hard, especially after all the middle school trauma. The bullying destroyed her confidence, leaving her resentful and terrified of actually connecting with the world around her. After class, Jay is calmly walking out when an annoying voice he is completely sick of calls his name. It is Mew, waving the flyer from June. He calls Jay a nerd and jokes about his teeth. The flyer advertises a race with a massive 100 million prize. That is life-changing cash, and Mew is totally broke. Hustling hard, he begs Jay to team up for the race so they can score the bag. Cold as always, Jay shoots him down. He says no and tells Mew to back off. Minwoo keeps pushing, hyping up how they could get on TV and become famous. From a distance, Shelly secretly watches Minwoo trying desperately to win Jay over. Just as Shelly is about to yell for Jay, her grandpa appears, asking where she thinks she is going. You and I both know she wants to chase Jay, but her grandpa grabs her hood. He says the friend can wait because they need to talk right now. He demands to know what she is scheming and orders her home. Shelly is super frustrated, desperate to follow Jay. But Grandpa drags her away. Later at home, Jay showers and starts studying, only for Mew to crash his room again. Mew swears if Jay fixes his bike, they can race. But Jay is totally over it. The TV plays an interview with a major cycling rep. It is Sancho Choi, gearing up for a street league cycling festival. Minwoo knows all about him. Aware he is basically the absolute greatest cyclist in Korea. When asked about the event, Sancho reveals he will race the final stretch against the winning amateur team. Meanwhile, Jay and June fight over the remote, but Mew insists on finishing the interview. The TV brings up Manhwa, a legendary cycling hero who died 2 years ago in a tragic accident right after a controversial doping test. Sancho Choi fake mourns him, saying that if Manhwa were alive today, his career would have been destroyed anyway because of those doping scandals. Hearing this, Jay pictures Manhwa's gentle smile. A wave of sadness hits him, but also deep anger at Sancho's disrespect and the fake doping accusations. He hates performance enhancers and hopes no cyclist goes down that path. As Mew and Jay keep wrestling for the remote, Jay suddenly stands up. He is joining the competition. Mew is totally shocked, thinking he misheard. Later that night, Jay, Mew, and June meet up. June asks if he is actually joining. Jay confirms it. You and I know exactly why. Hearing Sancho disrespect his uncle on TV changed everything. He cannot let that slide. Mew asks what changed his mind. Remembering the interview, Jay burns with rage. Stick with me here, you and I are about to watch this crew unite. Jay kept his real motives totally secret. Mew guessed it was about prize money or the international comp. But for Jay, nothing mattered more than clearing his uncle's name. He had to prove to Sancho Choi that his uncle never touched doping. June figured that whatever his actual reason was, having Jay race with them was a massive win. But they still had one major problem to fix. They were short on members and couldn't even officially call themselves a team yet. Mew worried his old crew might join the race and become their rivals. June told him to drop it completely. That was ancient history, and right now, they had to build their own squad. So Mew got stuck with the job of naming their brand new crew. June totally agreed they needed something catchy, asking the guys what ideas they actually had brewing. Jay stayed dead silent while Minwoo racked his brain. Then Mew dropped his so-called genius idea. Team Super Cool? Yeah, June immediately shot that down for being way too kiddie. They brainstormed absolute garbage. Super Other Team, giant team, tiger team, or legendary team. June quickly realized this entire conversation was just a total waste of time. So they pushed the decision to tomorrow. Jay seriously wondered what kind of bad karma tied him to a goofball like Mew. Meanwhile, Mew was still obsessing over Super Cool, genuinely thinking it was an absolute banger of a name. Fast forward to the next day in English class. The lesson dragged on, while Minwoo was absolutely sweating over finding a sick name for their cycling crew. His brain was totally frying. He had never struggled this hard before. Finally, during the break, the trio huddled up to pitch names, and Mew whipped out his overnight draft. With total confidence, he announced that Team Super Cool was literally their only option. Jay was instantly fed up, refusing to ride under such a ridiculous name. Mew defensively asked for a better idea. Jay deadpanned, literally anything except Super Cool. Mew was absolutely offended, convinced his idea was peak, while Jay brought zero ideas to the table. Right at that exact second, Shell popped up right behind Jay. Now watch closely, this is where the dynamic flips. Jay totally ignored her as usual, but hearing about the bike crew, she was instantly hyped and demanded to join the squad. June politely warned the blonde that this street race could get way too dangerous. But Mew, he instantly rolled out the red carpet, hyping her up and saying pretty girls were always welcome on his squad. He bragged that as long as she could pedal, he would totally carry her to victory himself. Highly annoyed, Shell fired back that her riding skills were top tier. Meanwhile, Mia was still secretly crushing hard and fuming after seeing this new girl kiss Jay in class. Her bestie Yuna tried lifting her mood, wondering why she looked so incredibly depressed lately. Panicking, Mia totally played it off, pretending she just had a nasty bug. Suddenly, Dom Kang crashed their chat. He loudly claimed she just lacked hype, insisting that blasting some hardcore hip-hop would instantly cure her bad vibes. Back with the crew, Shelly's naming input made Mew instantly suggest the goddess and her minions. June just sighed, realizing his buddy turned into a total simp around girls. Eavesdropping on the boys, Dom Kang whined about them hanging out without him. Sounding genuinely heartbroken, he asked if they were even real bros anymore. Dom dramatically claimed that after their bonding night, he and Jay were basically soulmates forever. Meanwhile, poor Mia, watching her crush Jay chilling with the blonde and the guys, felt her heart completely shatter. She stood completely frozen, wishing she was the one joking around in that squad. Yuna could totally see her friend spiraling into a funk. Off to the side, Dom Kang was throwing a massive temper tantrum, demanding a spot on the racing team. Shell just gave Mew the weirdest look. Now it was a 5-person party trying to lock down a name. Mew rudely asked why Dom Kang was still invading their space. Dom shot back that he was obviously joining their epic crew. Someone instantly hit him with the real question, did he even own a damn bike? Dom casually mentioned he'd just snag a cheap used one online. Mew shut him down, telling him to come back when he actually had wheels, since everyone shared a school. They thought about using the school's name, but immediately trashed the idea. It sounded way too lame. Shelly straight up roasted them for being completely garbage at naming things. While Shelly's overprotective grandpa spied on her hanging with the boys, Mew was stubbornly fighting to keep his precious super cool dream alive. The principal, her grandpa, was actually pretty annoyed seeing her surrounded by dudes again. I know what you're thinking. A wholesome moment? Yep. Seeing her smile made Grandpa realize she hadn't been this happy in ages. Suddenly, a little hummingbird buzzed past Dom Kang. The tiny thing was totally annoying Dom and Mew, who freaked out thinking it was a massive bug. Somebody guessed it was probably a hummingbird hovering around. But nerdy June quickly debunked that, saying Korea doesn't even have hummingbirds. He explained it was actually a hawk moth, which literally everyone mistakes for a bird. June went full nature doc, explaining hummingbirds flap 90 times a second and pull off crazy aerial tricks. Mew's mind was totally blown by that insane 90 flip stat. Right while fighting Dom off his smoothie, Mew had a massive light bulb moment. He loudly wondered what pedaling 90 times a second would actually look like on the street. You'd literally outrun a motorcycle. He pictured himself spinning out like a crazy bird. Minwoo's wild rambling suddenly made June, Jay and Shell completely stop and stare. Dom Kang was incredibly confused about why a bird mattered right now. At the exact same time, the street race flyers were blowing up everywhere, hyping up the whole city. Some real legends were getting ready to enter, while others, totally delusional, actually believed they could win riding junk bikes. The hype finally reached the legendary TJ, who smirked, finding this whole tournament extremely interesting. Back on classroom cleaning duty, Mia and Jay were quietly wiping down the board. Gathering all her courage, Mia finally asked if he was really dating the blonde girl. Jay frowned, totally annoyed, and asked where she got that ridiculous idea. Blushing hard, Mia mumbled that the entire school was basically spreading rumors about them being a couple. And she just wanted the truth. Jay flat out denied it, annoyed at whoever started that stupid gossip. Trying to hide her massive smile, Mia said that was a relief, since they were basically starting a club together. Jay clarified it was strictly a racing team. Mia completely lit up, saying that sounded awesome, and asked for the crew's name. Jay softly smiled, saying they locked in the name Hummingbird. Mia absolutely melted, calling it adorable. She quickly asked if they had a sick logo designed yet, because if not, she was totally down to sketch one. She dreamed of being a designer anyway, and that's where we leave it. Trust me, you're going to want to see this crew ride. Jay told Mia she could make something for him if she wanted. Blushing and smiling, Mia was thrilled. Jay just told her to hurry up because he had to leave. Later on, Mia mentioned she was buying a bike soon. She nervously asked if Jay could teach her how to ride whenever he had some free time. Jay calmly agreed to help her out later. Mia was absolutely over the moon. After school, Jay headed straight over to the local shop to finally grab his repaired bike. Harry said he was much later than expected. Meanwhile, Dom Kang finally arrived home and announced his presence. His dad called him over for a drink, but Dom refused, saying he was tired and had work. His old man complained, asking Dom to at least act happy to see him. Then he asked if Dom was juggling multiple girlfriends at school. Dom quickly replied, saying of course not. His dad bragged that at Dom's age, he wasn't so serious and knew how to party. One of his guys told him to leave Dom alone and just went back to eating. That's when Dom asked his dad to buy him a bike for exercise. His father found this sudden request really weird and asked how much bikes cost nowadays. One henchman chimed in, saying 50,000 won would get a decent ride. Dom's dad shrugged and agreed to pay up. He handed the cash over, telling him to buy something decent. Dom stared at the money, thinking his dad was totally joking. Where could he possibly find a bike that cheap? You and I know this is wild. With just 50,000 won, Dom magically found a new bike online for exactly 100,000 won. A listing with 0 pictures was super sketchy. Still, Dom wanted to buy it. One of the henchmen suggested he just message the seller directly. Feeling awkward, Dom considered begging for a 50% discount. But then it hit him, what if this was just a giant scam? The henchman laughed, saying nobody would try a scam that obvious, and if the guy did run off with the cash, he'd personally hunt him down. The seller replied instantly, agreeing to the 50,000 won discount. Dom felt incredibly lucky. Now he could finally join the riding team. Meanwhile, the seller figured he was easily scamming some broke high school kid. This absolute dirtbag had already pocketed the cash from our naive guy Dom. The scammer was dead certain no kid would call the cops over a cheap bike. Meanwhile, Harry was super hyped that Jay was actually joining the race with the boys. She thought it was awesome and hoped they'd make epic memories. She warned Jay to treat the bike right, especially since his uncle's old chain was a total disaster. She strongly reminded him to keep that legendary ride in perfect shape. Harry admitted it took forever to track down all the rare parts, especially since Jay completely trashed those 7 front wheels he used before. She explained these carbon wheels were crazy light, making the entire bike faster. But she dropped a serious warning, if carbon cracks. The whole thing is instantly garbage. Jay couldn't afford to ride like a maniac. Carbon is tough, but it definitely isn't indestructible. When Jay asked about the massive repair bill, Harry just smiled. She said she dug those 7 wheels out of a dusty corner, so they were on the house. He could pay for repairs after winning the tournament. She wanted him to take first place, especially to clear his uncle's name after that doping scandal. Harry clearly knew this was Jay's real motivation. Meanwhile, Vinny's friend told him to stop living like an absolute pig. School was over and the sun was down. Vinny had absolutely no business sleeping all day long. Peeking one eye open, Vinny mumbled about the time. His friend snapped that it was 8:40 p.m. Since he wasn't dead, he needed to get up immediately. Ignoring calls all day, his worried bro rushed over just to find him snoring. Trust me, you'll want to see what happens next. All right, guys, grab a snack and stick with me because this story gets wild. Vinny's buddy hands him a note and 10,000 won from his mom, who swung by earlier. Now, he's totally clueless on how to spend it. Honestly, 1 pack of smokes or a quick snack, and that cash is toast. Plus, his friend drops a major bomb. If Vinny ditches even 1 more class, the teacher is literally going to kick him out for good. Our guy is completely fed up. Showing up tomorrow or getting booted, he's basically ready to just throw in the towel. But when Vinny actually drags himself to the school gate, the totally ruthless staff guy working the entrance gives him the absolute worst look. Seriously, this dude hates students. His super toxic vibe is literally the reason kids skip school. He straight up calls everyone rebels, loudly blaming problem kids like Vinny for dragging the entire academy straight down into the dirt. He barks that 1 more slip-up means instant expulsion. Then, he starts talking trash under his breath about Vinny's crazy hair color, treating him like some kind of freak. Now pay close attention here, because things are heating up. The guy snaps that Vinny won't ever graduate, calling him a total waste of space that doesn't belong at this school at all. He practically begs to expel him on the spot. But right then, Vinny's ultimate bro steps in, planting himself directly in front of the angry dude. Boom, since a top-tier honor student showed up, the whole vibe flips instantly. His friend just completely deadpans. At the furiously shaking staff member, blowing past him like he was totally invisible. He casually walks up to Vinny to check if his boy is doing all right. Vinny looks super annoyed. Everyone knows better than to make eye contact or talk smack about him, or they'll get wrecked. He built this bad boy armor years ago just to survive. You and I know he won't let this slide. Hitting the door, Vinny demands a chat with the creep staring from the window. Vinny warns the kid to step outside while he's still playing nice. Panicking, the boy at the window starts hardcore apologizing, swearing it was a total accident and he meant absolute zero harm. Too late, Vinny grabs a chair, totally ready to lay down some painful discipline. Sorry or not, he has to make a brutal example out of him so nobody else dares to try it. Cut to another spot, where the guys are completely drooling over the gorgeous blonde exchange student. She's super happy, chatting on the phone and begging her dad to mail her bike over so she can go riding. But while she is absolutely living her best life on this call, Dom Kang is stressing hard with his phone situation. The shady dude who sold him his bike is completely ghosting him. No answers at all. Trust me, you are definitely going to want to see how this mess blows up. All right, come along with me. Mew is sweating bullets thinking this guy is ghosting his calls. Yuna spots him totally glued to his screen, looking dead serious. Meanwhile, Mia is totally in her own world, sketching a hummingbird and ignoring everyone. Yuna leans in, asking what she has been doodling all this time. Mia happily explains she is grinding hard on a team design. Yuna asks if it is some kind of cool logo, and Mia proudly confirms it is an epic hummingbird. Yuna casually mentions her brother and Jay totally inhaled their snacks and bolted outside. She looks at Mia, wondering if she knows where those two ran off to. Mia shrugs, saying she overheard them talking about dropping off a competition application. She honestly had zero clue her brother was even trying to compete in anything. But living together? That would definitely level up his skills. Mia is just absolutely glowing, feeling like she just nailed the most perfect sketch ever. Now she just needs to show the boys and get their reaction. Meanwhile, cut to the guys walking out of the post office after officially submitting their application form. Jay sighs, asking if he seriously needed to tag along just to drop off a piece of paper. Mew claps back, saying team members gotta stick together no matter what. Mew asks if Jay just wanted to chill at school while he did all the heavy lifting. Jay tells him to zip it and walk faster because they are wasting time. Mew's stomach is rumbling, so he begs to grab some grub before heading back. Jay coldly shoots him down, saying he is not hungry and will eat solo later. Mew rolls his eyes. Jay is always so painfully blunt. Suddenly, across the street, Mew spots a dude pushing a wild, floral pink bicycle and thinks it looks totally bizarre. The guy literally calls his bike Sina, whispering sweet nothings and asking her to wait while he drops off his application. He carefully locks it up so nobody swipes his precious ride. Then he legit blows the bike a kiss and promises to be right back. The whole scene gives Mew massive creeps. This guy is way too extra. Mew and Jay quickly bounce because they are just on a short class break and need to hurry. But the dude did not appreciate Mew calling his pink ride stupid. Mew stops and asks if the guy is actually talking to him. The guy snaps back, demanding to know why Minwoo insulted his gorgeous bike. He straight up calls Mew a worthless human, shouting that you cannot disrespect his legendary superbike. You and I are probably thinking the same thing. This guy is completely unhinged. The boys figure he is an otaku. Furious, the dude screams at Mew to take it back. He is so absolutely furious he grabs Mew by the collar, literally spitting as he yells. He starts rambling, dropping weird anime terms only true otakus would get. Panicking, Mew looks at Jay for backup, but Jay just sighs and tells him to apologize so they can leave. Seeing his bro completely bail on him, Mew quickly takes it back, lying that he only said it because the bike is so pretty. The crazy cyclist warns him not to look at her again, calling him totally useless. The guy snatches his application form off the ground, flexing that his squad is the Manga team. Mew suddenly realizes this crazy otaku is actually entering the street league too. The dude smirks, telling them to call the bike Senachin because that is her real name. Just like her eccentric owner, this pink ride is super exotic and totally unique. The boys are just mind blown that someone this weird actually exists. They hop on their pedals and speed back to school before their break ends. Riding back, they cannot stop thinking about that absolutely wild otaku encounter. Jay deadpans that the pink bike is probably the dude's actual girlfriend, which totally explains why Mew triggered him so hard. Mew stares at Jay, completely unsure if he is joking because Jay never emotes. Suddenly, the crazy guy blitzes past them, calling them slow pokes. The otaku yells back, hoping they enjoy the beautiful view of his bike's rear tire. Mew is left totally stunned, wondering why this absolute weirdo is acting so high and mighty. Especially on such a basic bike, to fix his own massive problems. Let's pause for a second. Dom called his mafia dad's henchman because he got scammed. As a respected gang, they cannot let this massive embarrassment slide. Especially since buying online was Dom's own brilliant idea. The henchman tells him to just chill in class, promising they will handle it. He immediately calls up another mob associate, explaining some fool dared to steal cash from their young master. Armed with the scammer's phone number and bank details, they prepare to hunt this guy down. He orders the guy to hand the info to their hacker to track the swindler. The associate instantly confirms, saying finding this scammer's location is a total breeze for hackers who literally just breached Korea's biggest credit card company. He then orders that, once they pin the location, grab the boys and some heavy tools to scare him straight. Meanwhile, Dom Kang is beating himself up for falling for such a basic internet scam. He just prays he can find this jerk and confront him man to man. Thinking about the betrayal, Dom's expression turns completely dark and terrifying. Someone taps his shoulder, and he whips around looking so demonic, he absolutely terrifies a random classmate. The poor kid just wanted to say Yuna is looking for him. Even though he is mad stressed, just the thought of Yuna instantly brightens his mood, no matter how hard he tries to play the tough guy. Looking into her eyes completely melts him, so he sprints over like a puppy. Approaching her, Dom softly asks what she needs from him. Yuna asks why he is walking around with such a dark cloud today. She hands him a piece of gum, telling him to chill out and let the sugar boost his spirits. To Dom, this basic piece of gum is a literal holy relic from goddess Yuna. Acting bold, he pouts, saying he feels awful because she will not give him a kiss. Yuna smiles, gently stroking his cheek, right before absolutely punching his lights out. Meanwhile, across town, the internet scammer is living his best life, riding a bike and munching on snacks, all paid for by some sucker who fell for his fake cheap bike listing online. This dude is feasting like a king, using the 50,000 won he swiped from that gullible buyer, pedaling back to his shady apartment. He is feeling completely on top of the world. He tiptoes inside, trying to dodge his landlord and skip rent again. He thinks he is totally in the clear, but something feels super wrong. His front door is busted wide open, panicking that somebody just robbed his stolen stash. Trust me, you and I knew this was coming. He rushes inside, only to find mafia goons in suits holding heavy weapons. Let's dive into this madness. The scammer was just a student cyclist, totally clueless why he was getting this intense VIP mafia welcome. Trembling, he dropped his takeout food on the floor, begging to know who these guys were. It was late, and he had just come home to find a whole squad waiting. They demanded to know why he dared to trick their young master. Now, our boy is strapped to a chair, gagged, rocking his goofy cycling helmet. One of Dom Kang's dad's goons was absolutely furious, pointing out he had scammed the worst possible guy. The henchman growled that if he wanted to play a con artist, he better be ready to pay the price. The head bodyguard looked annoyed, complaining about wasting his precious time in this dump. The big guy warned our tied-up scammer that their young master was coming, and trust me, payback was going to be insanely expensive. That cheap 50,000 won scam basically bought this dude a one-way ticket to hell. As the crew surrounded the chair, the young master himself, Dom Kang, finally stepped in. Everyone bowed in respect, but Dom's face, absolutely furious. He spent the whole day hunting down this scammer. The guy stuck in the chair looked up at the angry young man. Thinking Dom Kang was literally just a high school kid, why was this mafia squad obeying him? The scammer shook violently as Dom, keeping his hands stuffed in his pockets, started digging around like he was grabbing a weapon. Now pay close attention here. Dom was just grabbing his prized treasure after a stressful day. The poor cyclist in the chair was already crying, waiting for a knife or a gun. So you can imagine his pure confusion when Dom Kang completely chilled out and pulled out a simple caramel candy. The scary young boss suddenly looked like a happy kid. The scammer was so thrown off he literally stopped crying. One goon asked what they should do next, but Dom just happily chewed away. That candy from Yuna was top tier. Then, dropping back into a serious boss glare, Dom stared down the seated scammer and demanded to know where the bike was. One of the many henchmen simply pointed across the room, and Dom saw the ride was practically brand new. Walking up to it, Dom whispered that he was absolutely thrilled. Excellent condition, and it only cost him a measly 50,000 won. Right then, the scammer who actually owned that sweet ride was losing his mind. If he wasn't gagged and tied, he definitely would have screamed. His absolute agony at watching another guy claim his bike was hilarious. The head bodyguard figured his boss must have had a great day to be this happy. Highly satisfied with scoring such an epic bargain, Dom turned around and told the scammer that since he was quitting cycling, he wouldn't need the helmet either. Hyped about the combo, Dom declared the deal done. The scammer could go. The big bodyguard honestly felt a little disappointed by the anti-climax. Meanwhile, our scammer was bawling. Not from fear anymore, but totally shattered over losing his precious bike. The henchman leader called the kid incredibly lucky, then ordered his guys to finally cut him loose and let him go. Sometime later, this dude was discovered literally planted upright in a soft patch of dirt. And get this, he wasn't alone. A bunch of stray cats were just chilling, eager to play. Meanwhile, over at Jay's place, Mew tried to jump on the computer, but Jay shut him down to focus on an online class. Right then, Mew heard some weird noises coming from outside the window. Mew turned and asked if Jay heard the ruckus outside. Sniffling from a cold, Jay brushed it off, saying it was probably just a stray cat or something. Not buying that excuse, Mew popped the window open to investigate. Down below, he spotted Dom Kang looking ridiculously happy, showing off his new bike like a championship trophy. Mew was totally hyped for his buddy's new ride. And obviously, the moment bikes were mentioned, Jay was instantly interested, rushing over to the window to check it out. Within minutes, the whole trio was outside Jay's house, admiring the shiny frame. Mew immediately jumped at the chance to test ride it. "You and I both know something is fishy here, right?" As Mew pedaled, he swore he had seen this exact bike before but couldn't remember where. Glancing back, he asked Dom how much cash he actually dropped for it. Looking incredibly smug, Dom proudly bragged that he completely finessed the seller down to 50,000 won online. Seeing Jay and Mew's jaws absolutely drop in pure disbelief, Dom started sweating, asking if he actually got scammed and paid too much. The boys just stared at the bike again. Realizing it was in pristine condition, they straight up asked Dom what kind of torture he used on the owner to get that ridiculous price. Dom innocently repeated the scammer's excuse, that the guy was quitting cycling anyway, so he sold it dirt cheap. Hearing that, Jay decided to ditch them outside and head back into study, since his grades were tanking hard right now. Now holding this sweet bike, Dom, who literally couldn't ride it, awkwardly asked his friends for some pro tips. Mew suggested Dom practice skidding first, since it's crucial for riding a fixed-gear bike. But looking at Dom's completely blank face, Mew instantly realized his buddy had zero clue what skidding was. Pumped up, Mew explained that skidding is a sick trick for fixies, where you literally lock the rear wheel, just using your pure leg strength. Realizing the explanation went right over his head, Mew decided to demonstrate instead, telling Dom to just watch closely and copy him. Mew quickly executed the slick trick so Dom could see it in action. Feeling wildly overconfident, Dom figured it was easy enough and decided to jump right in. At first, Dom couldn't even get his feet on the pedals. One friend joked he wasn't built for this, but Dom refused to quit, stubbornly trying to force his way into getting it right. After wasting a few minutes just wrestling with the foot straps, Dom finally wobbled forward. Literally 3 pedal strokes later, the guy was already huffing and totally exhausted. And then, Dom had the absolute genius idea of bombing a downhill slope on a brakeless bike. Mew yelled at Dom to skid just like he showed him, but Dom realized he was already completely losing control of the handlebars. Panicking, he desperately tried pedaling backwards to save himself. He screamed at the top of his lungs that it wasn't working. The pedals were just whipping around way too fast for his legs to stop. Dom flew down the hill screaming for his life while his legs spun out of control. Trust me, after that hilarious crash, we all knew he was definitely not athletic. All right, stick with me as we jump right back into the madness. Mew figured they better hit a repair shop tomorrow. Just like that, another wild school day kicks off. Sunny High students are gearing up for yet another brutal study session. The girls group up, complaining about how they look while furiously applying makeup to hide every tiny flaw. Meanwhile, some of the other students are living life on the edge, skateboarding around campus. One group of girls is just wishing Mew would finally notice them. But out of nowhere, a skateboarder zips past, and the wind whips their skirts up just a bit. This speedy skater boy is feeling incredibly smug. Why? Because he just caught a quick glimpse of 2 pairs of underwear, pink and white. But yeah, these 3 girls are not having it. They get totally furious once they realize that sudden gust of wind was definitely not an accident. This orange-haired menace was purposely trying to peek. Absolute creep behavior, but he is loving it. He even makes a mental note that white seems to be the big trend today. Then he spots his main target. Chell, the gorgeous blonde exchange student. She is hanging with the group, being her usual super friendly self. Seeing her totally sparks his interest. Suddenly, this orange-haired guy is super fired up, busting out some absolutely radical skateboarding tricks to show off. He slickly adjusts his hair. It is his absolute best feature, and he knows it turns heads. Dripping with confidence, he decides it is finally time to slide up to his crush. But oops, that is not gonna happen today. He gets completely cornered by the girls who are beyond fed up with his little stunts. Realizing he intentionally lifted their skirts, pushed them right over the edge. One girl gently taps his stomach with fast punches. Then the others happily join in, stomping this boy out so he really feels the love. Back with Michelle's crew, everybody is hyping up the new team logo Mia just designed. She worked super hard on this, mostly just to impress Jay. Holding up her notebook, Mia asks for their honest opinions. Mew, playing the total gentleman, grabs her hands and declares the artwork is absolutely stunning. He says the team is destined to win now. Yuna, knowing her brother perfectly, tells Mew to stop using the logo as an excuse to hold her hands. Mew gets defensive since Yuna makes him sound like a total weirdo. Then Chell steps in, complimenting Mia's sick drawing skills and asking to see it up close. But Mia is still holding a massive grudge over Chell kissing Jay. No way is she letting her rival get a better look at it. Here is where it gets spicy, so watch closely with me. Chell flat out asks what Mia's problem is. The vibe gets so heavy that even completely oblivious Minhu, who literally never notices anything, finally realizes these girls are ready to throw down. Mew is just hyped about the perfect logo, totally ignoring the insanely awkward mood shift. Minhu asks Jay for his opinion since the dude is standing there like a statue. In his usual ice-cold voice, without even looking at it, Jay just says yes. Mia is completely thrilled. She happily tells Jay she is so glad he likes it, especially since she made the entire thing just for him. Suddenly, Yuna spots Dom Kang stumbling around looking totally wrecked. She cannot even begin to guess what kind of mess he got into this time. Dom Kang is barely walking, clutching the desks just to reach his squad. Everyone stares, totally concerned. They are wondering if he got jumped or took a brutal beating somewhere. Putting on a brave smile while looking half dead, Dom Kang explains the truth. He was just up super late practicing his skidding techniques. But now, he is desperate to buy some brakes right after class. Riding a fixed gear without them suddenly feels like a total death wish. Mew gets paranoid about the bike getting stolen, immediately asking Dom Kang where he parked it and if he remembered the lock. A smiling Dom Kang tells him to chill, swearing the bike is safe. Outside in the corridor, his ride is literally tied to a massive Rottweiler. It is causing a huge scene. Everyone walking past is stopping to admire the insanely sleek bike, praising its sick aerodynamics and perfect color scheme. But the second anyone steps too close, boom, that gigantic Rottweiler bares its teeth, ready to defend the ride with its life. You and I both know this is hilarious. People are terrified, wondering who ties a beast to a bicycle. Meanwhile, up in class, the mastermind behind this chaos is chilling. Dom Kang's wild logic leaves Jay totally speechless. Even knowing him, this makes zero sense. Jay usually keeps a straight face, but situations this bizarre totally break his cool. Mia, she could not care less about Dom Kang's guard dog. She asks if Jay is free this weekend to teach her how to ride. Yuna instantly steps up, trapping Jay so he absolutely cannot back out. She reminds him how hard Mia worked on that team logo. So, as a basic thank you, he owes her a private weekend biking lesson. Still completely deadpan, Jay just nods and says he will keep his promise. Mia is practically jumping for joy over her upcoming date. But wait. Chell shuts that down immediately. She tells Mia to hold up, saying Jay is not available. Mia snaps back, demanding to know why Chell is speaking for him. Chell does not care at all. She wants to hang out this weekend too. Then Dom Kang, totally oblivious, excitedly yells that he is coming along to practice skidding. Mew refuses to let Jay be alone with the girls, so he invites himself. Yuna just stares, completely amazed by how brainless these boys are. They totally ruined Mia's perfect excuse for a romantic date. Mew then looks over at June, thinking about inviting him to the chaos. But he figures June is too busy studying for college exams. Nope, June is actually glued to his phone, intensely analyzing their upcoming racing rivals. Winning takes more than skill, you need intel. June notices one athlete who completely stands out, riding a 5-speed bike. Right now, this guy is training in their exact city, gearing up for the massive championship tournament they entered. This dude is hitting 89 to 92 kilometers per hour, and when he really pushes it, He blasts all the way up to 97. A camera car follows him, live streaming every single run. So what do you and I make of this? Our crew is facing an absolute monster. Let's dive right in, guys, because a rider just hit an insane 102 kilometers per hour. June is completely freaking out. Nobody goes that fast. Meanwhile, over at the bike shop, Dom Kang finally gave in. Sick of wiping out, he brought his ride in for some actual brakes. Harry hooked him up, tossing on front brakes for some much-needed safety. Dom Kang, absolutely hyped. Now he can actually shred without crashing. Jay recommended the spot, completely clueless that the famous streamer girl actually ran it. Mew stepped up, asking the gorgeous mechanic if she was really the same streamer running the whole place. She laughed it off. The streams, just a fun side gig. Her real hustle is wrenching at this shop, which her dad actually owns. Harry switched gears, asking why they were just chilling instead of training for the big race. Mew just smirked, banking purely on his friend. He bragged that with Jay carrying them, winning was a total lock. But June cut him off. He had been doing some serious digging on the competition. June dropped a reality check. If they kept goofing off, they would get completely wiped out in the absolute first round. Mew felt totally awkward with June hovering and asked if he hung out there a lot. June fired right back. Yep, he was a regular, just swinging by today for a quick tire swap and a tune-up. Dom Kang was just vibing, totally thrilled to see the squad together. To him, this shop was basically their new secret clubhouse. Mew thought it was crazy that June was stalking rival teams when their massive entrance exams were literally right around the corner. But pay close attention here, guys. June pulls up a video of a rival crushing over 100 kilometers per hour, and their jaws literally hit the floor. They were completely mind-blown. A human on a bike going that fast? No way. Luckily, Harry, the ultimate gearhead in the room, dropped some knowledge. She explained the guy was drafting behind a car to block the wind. With that kind of setup, any pro could hit 100. She even dropped the world record stat, over 200. Mew was shook, realizing human limits are basically just a total myth. He instantly asked for a name. June pulled up the intel. This absolute unit goes by the name Monster 13. Turns out, this dude used to be a massive high school football star in the States, rocking the lucky 13. He played quarterback and literally backpacked his entire squad. They called him the Beast of the Gridiron. But then, tragedy struck. A brutal in-game injury wrecked his knee, ending his running days forever. Dreams shattered, he dropped out of football, packed his bags, and moved all the way back to Korea. To bounce back, he started aggressively cycling. Pushing those pedals became his own hardcore version of intense daily physical rehab. That rehab turned into pure obsession, forging him into an absolute monster on wheels. Now, he leads the terrifying monster team in this tournament. Everyone is betting on him to win. June pointed out that casual street riders and track pros use totally different muscle groups. These hardcore athletes have bodies custom built for raw power, letting them smash those massive 5-1 gears without even breaking a sweat. I know what you're thinking, and Mew agrees, this is totally hopeless. He threw his hands up, convinced they'd get completely wiped if guys like that were racing. Dom Kang stayed quiet since he literally just bought his first bike. Catching their defeated vibes, Harry stepped up, tossing them an invite to use her pro training rollers. She signaled the crew to follow, ready to show off the space and explain exactly how the rollers worked. Stepping into that specialized training zone, the guys were totally floored. They had zero clue a setup this high-tech even existed. She casually mentioned her team grinds here. These rollers are top tier for locking in perfect pedaling form and simulating real road friction. Hitting the rollers helps riders instantly find their ultimate posture and vibe. Dom Kang, completely ignoring his total lack of actual skill, got totally hyped and jumped to go first. But man, the exact second his tires hit that slippery cylinder, he was fighting for his life. Just balancing drove him insane when he finally got those pedals turning. He looked like he was maxing out on basic spins. Shaking violently left and right, the screeching sounds proved he had absolutely zero handle on the bike. Who knew a stationary bike took this much raw power? Rattling like crazy, Dom Kang yelled out, begging to know why this cursed machine was violently bucking him around. Harry kept it super chill, explaining that he was death gripping the handlebars and keeping his shoulders way too stiff. She told him to loosen up for better handling, but honestly, it still felt like a total nightmare. Great advice on paper, brutal in reality. While Dom Kang was busy whining, he looked over and saw something completely mind-blowing happening right next door. Jay was already on the rollers, spinning effortlessly like an absolute machine. Dom Kang instantly demanded to know how he was cheating. Jay casually dropped that he grew up grinding alongside his uncle. Mew groaned, complaining that Jay was literally elite at everything. Super unfair, right? June just smirked, calling Jay their undisputed ace. Harry watched closely. Jay's core was locked down, and his cadence was like smooth butter. Absolute peak form. Anyone can mash on the pedals, sure. But engaging every single muscle flawlessly? That takes years. Harry realized right then he really is Mahan-Jo's nephew. Pure, terrifying cycling talent runs in his blood. The gorgeous mechanic dipped out to help a customer, but left them with an open invite to grind on the trainers whenever they wanted. Master the rollers, then hit the asphalt. Countless wipeouts later, Dom Kang was completely gassed and raging. Way rougher than it looks. Mew was dripping sweat, completely drained. He did better than Dom Kang, but his stamina still tanked super fast. So what do we learn here? Mew thought cycling was just sitting and pedaling, but trust me, they are realizing this sport is absolutely no joke. Let's dive right into this wild ride. Our guy couldn't even skid yet, but despite being totally exhausted, Dom Kang was already hyped to ride again tomorrow. Hoping to win over Yuna, Mew actually asked what he saw in his sister, claiming she basically looked like a grumpy cow. Dom Kang got mad defensive, shouting that his dream girl looked nothing like livestock. Mew just figured only total weirdos liked her. The whole thing blew his mind. Dom Kang was absolutely paralyzed. His precious crush was actually Mew's sister. Mew thought he was acting crazy. I mean, they were literal twins, and Dom Kang somehow never noticed. But Dom Kang freaked out and totally rejected the idea. No way, how could they be related when they looked so completely different? Like maybe they looked a tiny bit alike, but barely. Mew asked if he really never connected the dots. Then, Dom Kang just snapped. He leaped right into Mew's face, scaring him half to death. Out of absolutely nowhere, he called him brother. Mew felt super cringed out and annoyed by his buddy's weirdness. The whole scene was so ridiculous that the passing cyclists totally stopped. Even Jay stopped pedaling and reading to stare. Meanwhile, Mia was at home, happily drying her hair after a shower. Spotting her bike, she remembered Jay promised to teach her how to ride it. She thought it was the perfect chance to flirt, hoping she'd ride well tomorrow and totally impress him. Now pay attention, because the big day was finally here. Mia waited at the park for Jay's highly anticipated cycling lesson. Mia and Shelley chilled on a bench, waiting around. Dom Kang walked up holding some yogurts, playing the cool guy. He let them choose flavors. One took strawberry, and the other grabbed a traditional one. Shelley, being her usual rebellious self, just ripped the lid off and tossed it without licking it. Dom Kang was outraged. He totally wanted to lick that lid himself. He scolded her for throwing it out, asking if she seriously had zero manners when it came to eating yogurt. Shelley completely ignored him, refusing to touch the lid. But Dom Kang, he slurped his with intense passion. He claimed you always gotta lick it clean first. Shelley looked disgusted. He licked it until it shined, which grossed her out even more. Offended, he argued literally everyone eats yogurt like this. Mia tried backing him up, saying she did too. Yuna showed up with the guys, spotting Mia's group. Her brother walked by and messed up her hair on purpose, knowing she hated it. Jay, entirely in his own world, didn't even notice, and Yuna completely ignored Jay too. The always playful Mew arrived dropping jokes with the girls. Mia jumped up to wave, desperately wanting Jay's attention. Shelley wanted it too, but stayed sitting. Meanwhile, Dom Kang, acting super proper, stood up and bowed. He was dying to show off his new cycling moves to Yuna. He bragged about pulling an all-nighter practicing to impress her, but she immediately told him to stop trying so hard. Despite his claims, her expectations were rock bottom. Dom Kang desperately needed points, so he decided to bust out a sick trick. At first, it looked awesome. He went all out, looking like an absolute cycling pro. He tried his special skid, but basically just found a brand new way to injure himself. With zero skill, his long skid completely failed. You and I definitely felt that one. He crashed, racking his lower half. The agony had Dom Kang rolling on the dirt like a baby. Watching him writhe around, Yuna sarcastically said his training worked, since he was now a total circus clown. She said to stop trying so hard. Being himself was enough. Ignoring the mess, Mia focused entirely on Jay. She walked over, asking if her seat was too high. Dead serious, Jay explained a low seat makes pedaling awful and wrecks your joints. Mia nodded, promising to adapt. Playing cute, she begged Jay to hold the seat so she wouldn't completely wipe out. Dodging any contact, he swore he held the seat tight and told her to just start pedaling. Mew stood nearby, enjoying the show, and suggested Shelley do something else. The blonde refused. Though annoyed, Shelley preferred staying right there. Mia was terrified, constantly begging Jay to hold on. He sighed, telling her to stop panicking and actually pedal, since he was doing literally all the pushing while she slacked. He warned that tensing her shoulders would destroy her balance, telling her to relax her upper body. Honestly, Mia was clueless on a bike. She kept wobbling, pedaling weirdly. Whenever she lost her balance, she'd conveniently throw herself right into Jay. He kept barking at her to center her weight, complaining that her totally stiff posture made it impossible to help her. Faking embarrassment for attention, she agreed to try again. Meanwhile, Shelley was fuming because Jay literally wasn't looking at her once. Finally snapping, she muttered she had enough. Minwoo watched Shelley march over and demand Mia stop flirting with him. Even though Minwoo stared straight ahead, he was totally lost in childhood memories. He remembered those days riding bikes, especially teaching his little sister how to pedal on her own. He remembered Yuna roasting him, joking that their dad only bought the bike so he'd be their personal babysitter. Despite the roasting, he genuinely loved riding with them. He remembered this one insane cyclist flying past them, completely ignoring they even existed. His little sister was completely amazed. That quick moment inspired Mew to train like crazy to match that stranger's skill. Here's where we leave it. His sister yelled to chase him, so Mew pedaled with everything he had. Stick with me here because the drama is just heating up. Minwoo was chilling but back in the present. Shelley rolls up, asking Jay for riding lessons. She claims she forgot how. Jay is sweating, trying to dodge the mess, and straight up calls her out for bragging about her elite biking skills earlier. Mia gets annoyed. She snaps, telling Shelley to quit flirting so Jay can get back to teaching. Shelley refuses to back down. Shelley fires back, asking if Mia actually wants to learn or just wants an excuse to grope Jay all day. Offended, Mia demands to know when she ever touched him inappropriately, swearing she barely even brushed past him. She completely denies the whole thing and tells Shelley to stop making up lies. Seeing his boy looking uncomfortable, Mew finally steps in to save the day. He suggests swapping partners. Mew will teach Mia, leaving Jay to chill with Shelley. Jay lets out a huge sigh of relief. His bro really just saved his life. Tuning out the girl drama completely, Shelley takes full advantage of having Jay all to herself. She playfully slides her sunglasses onto his face to see the look. Then she snatches his regular glasses, trying them on and asking how she looks. But those prescription lenses are way too strong, instantly making her head spin. Totally unamused, Jay hands back her shades and demands his glasses back. But Shelley stubbornly refuses. She declares she is keeping them forever. Now pay. Stick with me here. Seeing Mia suddenly look totally bummed, Mew asks if she hates her new instructor. The sad girl shyly mumbles it is definitely not him. But his sister, Yuna, is lurking right behind them. She is absolutely not feeling this chat, getting super irritated. Yuna fiercely demands to know why her brother is coaching Mia instead of Jay. Mew calmly explains that Jay was exhausted, so they switched spots. Grinding her teeth, Yuna fiercely warns her brother against any funny business with her friend. Suddenly, Dom Kang pops up, saluting Mew like an absolute boss. Dom eagerly yells he will totally handle Yuna so Mew can go have some fun. Mew cringes hard, begging Dom to drop that weird boss nickname right now. But Dom completely ignores him, entirely focused on Yuna. He tells Mew to go hang with Mia. Totally annoyed, Yuna snaps at Dom. She insists calling her brother boss is super weird and totally disruptive. Trying to be sweet, Dom claims he uses the boss title because they already feel like one big happy family. Yuna, showing her own twisted kind of love, puts Dom in a chokehold, ready to deck him. Meanwhile, Mia accepts her new coach. You feel that frustration, right? Mia suddenly realizes she lacks biking talent and starts crying. Mew gently explains it is about pure hustle, not natural skill. He points out her huge fear of wiping out is what truly holds her back. Looking down silently, Mia completely agrees with her new teacher. Mew keeps pushing, swearing talent means absolutely nothing here. Her real enemy is just being timid. If she stays terrified, she will literally never level up, ruining any chance of becoming a real cyclist. Mia drops her gaze, suddenly flashing back to middle school where horrible bullies roasted her with awful, inappropriate jokes. Back then, she just took it silently, hiding her anger to avoid awkwardness. Those dark memories only crush her spirit even more. Mew hypes her up to keep fighting. He warns if she gives up so easily now, fear wins forever, gently tapping her helmet. Mew tells her to stop fearing the fall. Whatever happens, she has got to own it with total confidence. Doing things the first time is always terrifying, but it becomes no big deal. His words give Mia real comfort, and she desperately wants to be brave enough to keep trying. She refuses to let fear ruin her dream of becoming a cyclist and riding with Jay. I am totally rooting for her. Mew is super happy Mia is ready to try again. He is absolutely not quitting on her. Gripping the bike while Mia balances, Mew is her ultimate support system. Cheering her on, he promises she is super close. Just a tiny bit more hustle, and she will crush it. Mew tells Mia to stop staring at the ground, look straight ahead, and just pedal with pure confidence. Mia tunes out the world, totally locked in on her goal, even with lingering fear. Knowing Mew has her back gives her massive relief. Feeling super satisfied, Mew knows she has finally cracked the code. He yells at her to keep that momentum and keep pedaling. Mia agrees, begging him to hold on a little longer. But you and I know this classic trick. She glances back, getting zero response. All right, stick with me here. She suddenly noticed Mew was already way ahead. He cheered her on, and everyone was totally hyped seeing her hard work actually pay off. Yuna was absolutely thrilled for her bestie. Meanwhile, Dom Kang spotted Mia completely handling things solo. And Shelly? Well, giving off major jealous energy. She just didn't get the hype. Like everyone rides bikes, right? But man, the icy death glare Jay just shot Shelly, absolutely brutal, soul-crushing stuff. He didn't speak a single word, but that look said enough. Mew, though, bro was flexing his ego hard. Mia was killing it entirely because he was a top-tier coach. Mia totally had it down now. Cruising solo, no training wheels, no one holding her back. You could see she was loving it, pure satisfaction from grinding it out herself. Rolling back up to the squad, Mew hyped her up, saying she was officially a rider. He even tossed in a humble brag, claiming it wasn't even that tough to learn. You and I both know what this means. Squad ride time. Mia was just super stoked to get props from Mew for being such a patient coach. But then, Jay hit Mew and Mia with another signature cold stare. Just totally killing the vibe. Glaring daggers, he basically muttered that they looked way too cozy and just dipped. Mew was completely clueless. Like, bro, where did that even come from? Thanks to Jay's mood swing, the whole crew just completely scattered. Which totally sucked, because Mew literally just wanted everyone to chill and cruise together as a group. Mia was super bummed out too. She finally leveled up to ride with them, and Jay just ghosts. Yuna agreed it was a total buzzkill, but figured they might as well head out too. Still riding that high of learning, Mia smiled, said it was fun, and packed up to leave. So where do we leave this? Yuna glanced over, realizing Dom Kang was awfully quiet. When she asked if he was leaving, he smoothly offered to walk her home. All right, grab your snacks. We're diving into some absolute street brawl chaos. Yuna thanked him and tried to catch a cab, but Dom insisted on tailing her like a bodyguard. Eventually, Dom was totally running out of steam. He asked Yuna to watch his bike while he dipped into a convenience store to grab a quick energy drink. He offered to buy her a snack, but honestly, she just wanted him to stop stalking her. The whole shadow act was getting super annoying. Meanwhile, a group of loud guys strolled by, complaining about missing out on some event. One dude just wanted to chill at home, while another broke off from the group, heading to the exact same convenience store and leaving his 3 buddies behind. These guys were super salty. Why? Because their school was literally the only one forcing them to study on the weekends. While waiting around for their buddy, one of these punks spotted Yuna across the street, just standing all by herself with the bike. He smirked, telling his crew she was looking pretty cute. His friend teased him, asking if he was actually going to shoot his shot. With a massive grin, he told them to watch and learn as he strutted across the street. Yuna was already annoyed, tapping away on her phone and wondering what in the world was taking Dom so long inside a tiny store. Out of nowhere, this random guy rolls up, trying to get her attention. She looks up, and he's already dropping cheesy lines, demanding her phone number. Yuna gave him the cold shoulder, pretending he was totally invisible. But this dude could not read the room, heavily insisting she add his socials. Pushed to her limit, Yuna finally glared at him, straight up saying she wasn't interested and to back off. Big mistake. This guy's fragile ego couldn't handle rejection. His squad across the street saw the whole shutdown go down. Laughing their heads off, they literally pulled out their phones to snap pictures. Furious, the guy started shouting, daring Yuna to say it to his face again. He kept barking that shooting his shot was totally normal behavior. He told her to drop the good girl act, calling her absolute trash. Throwing a massive tantrum, he kept spitting out the most toxic, out-of-pocket insults imaginable. Now watch closely, because this is where karma hits hard. The punk got completely leveled when someone finally stepped up to teach him some manners. The beatdown was so brutal, his friends across the street just stood there paralyzed. The loudmouth who harassed Yuna over a simple rejection. Yeah, he was getting a hardcore crash course in respect right there on the pavement. Obviously, it was Dom Kang delivering the swift justice, making absolutely sure the street punk realized you do not mess with innocent people. Ripping off his hat, Dom looked absolutely murderously mad. He was making a major statement: nobody disrespects Yuna on his watch. That arrogant bully was fully knocked out cold on the asphalt. Meanwhile, his buddies across the street were totally glitching out, failing to process the situation. They instantly got defensive, completely blaming Yuna for the chaos. She felt their intense glares and started shaking, realizing this whole mess was about to escalate. Especially because Dom Kang was seeing red and looked fully ready to wreck the other two as well. One punk actually glared right back at Dom, foolishly thinking Dom would be intimidated just because it was a 2-on-1 fight. Dom Kang blitzed forward so fast, they did not even process his movement before he started swinging. This dude desperately needed a wake-up call. He needed to learn basic respect. And honestly, Dom Kang was acting as the ultimate street karma, making absolutely sure that toxic behavior got completely punished. Slowly but surely, the message was pounded into his skull: leave girls alone when they say no. Dom was an absolute master at handling anybody who dared to disrespect his precious Yuna. Yuna, meanwhile, was screaming her lungs out for Dom to quit, totally panicked that he was going to get arrested. But Dom kept handing out the beating, because that kind of trash behavior was just totally unacceptable. Then, he slowly turned his crazy eyes toward the third guy, ready for round 3. That third punk was sweating bullets, shaking because he knew his own funeral was up next. Right then, Yuna desperately begged Dom to chill out. I know what you're thinking, she should be thanking him, right? But she was terrified of the cops. The walk back was pure, awkward silence. She was mad about the violence, and he hated losing control. Finally, Yuna broke the ice, saying she'd just catch a cab from there. Dom immediately asked if she was actually mad about him saving her earlier. She blatantly said yes, reminding him that she explicitly told him to stop picking fights. Dom snapped back, asking if she seriously expected him to just watch her get harassed. Yuna argued that he didn't need to go full beast mode just to make a simple point. Super frustrated. Dom questioned if she genuinely wanted him to be a coward, if she'd rather him just sit back and do zero. That instantly made Yuna shut down. Deep down, she knew she was wrong, but she hated him fighting her battles. That is exactly when Dom told her that for a girl raised like royalty. She clearly saw him as just another violent thug. Turning his back, Dom coldly wished her a safe trip home. Meanwhile, that coward from the store who ditched his buddies was frantically making a phone call. The dude was calling in the heavy cavalry, whining about how his crew got totally folded. Major trouble was brewing as he snitched to his connections. But here is the worst part. These guys rolled with Vinny, a massive local delinquent famous for starting absolute wars. The guy on the other line totally got it, promising immediate payback. Vinny's right-hand man quickly delivered the bad news to the boss himself. Hearing that some random dude was destroying his gang, Vinny was not having it. He crushed his cigarette, deciding to handle this mess personally. The coward who made the emergency call jogged back to his 3 battered friends on the bench. They were all looking incredibly miserable after that brutal reality check. They honestly felt like victims, whining that the beatdown was way too harsh. The one lucky guy who dodged the fists finally admitted they never should have bothered Yuna. He confessed he only survived because he avoided the monster. The actual instigator of the whole mess then started calling him a pathetic coward for fleeing the scene. The loudmouth demanded to know why Vinny was dragged into this drama. He complained that it was super humiliating if the whole neighborhood found out their entire squad got soloed by one single guy. Right on cue, Vinny pulled up, aggressively ordering the punk to back off. The dude was so jumpy he literally tripped and fell backward. Sitting in the dirt, he looked up and realized Vinny's terrifying presence alone had floored him. Vinny intensely interrogated the guy on the ground, demanding to know where Dom went. The punk admitted he was already gone. So, trust me, you won't want to miss the chaos coming next. Stick with me here. Vinny was completely roasting this kid, telling him not to claim their school because it was just flat-out embarrassing. Sun figured the guy who completely wrecked them was probably just some student. One of the 3 dudes who got clapped wasn't entirely sure, but remembered a dude rocking long hair and a band-aid under his nose. Outside of that specific look, their memories were totally blank. But one of them actually had solid evidence. When that guy was trying to flirt earlier, his buddy snapped a joke picture, so they had a photo. They just assumed the girl with the bike was his girlfriend. Only problem? The photo quality was complete trash, making it impossible to identify anyone. Sun was clueless about how a picture of the girl helped. Meanwhile, the rejected dude was super annoyed, realizing his buddy had been secretly snapping photos of his fail. But Vinny spotted the bike in the shot and instantly knew it was a clue. He told Sun to send it over, claiming he had a genius plan in mind. With the picture secured, Vinny immediately hit up an old buddy. This friend was currently grinding on a bike treadmill, sweating it out to boost his top speed. Hearing the ring, he instantly started complaining, grumbling about how much he absolutely hated being interrupted during his intense training. He paused his workout, wiped his face, and picked up. Seeing Vinny calling made him super annoyed, but Vinny just told him to shut up and check the photo. Vinny told him to pay attention, guessing someone on his squad rode that specific bike. But TJ shot that down, saying nobody on his crew rode a trail bike like that. Confused, TJ asked why Vinny even sent this random picture. Vinny clarified he was actually hunting down a dude rocking long hair and a band-aid under his nose. Now watch this closely, TJ thought about it, and with that exact description, only one single person popped into his head. It was the buddy of Sunny High's student council president. Without wasting a single second, TJ spilled the tea straight to Vinny. Vinny was instantly hyped, finding out the target went to Sunny High. Meanwhile, TJ felt pretty smug about acting as the master detective. This kid was friends with President J, a guy TJ completely despised after taking some harsh losses against him. Slowly, TJ started grinning like an absolute supervillain. Glancing at the bike, he had zero clue what the drama was, but he was just relieved Vinny wasn't targeting him. Next day, Dom Kang strolled into class completely glued to his phone. A classmate jokingly called him Mr. Tough Guy and invited him to ride rollers after school. But Dom had to pass, explaining he had work that night. Mew looked super disappointed. Dom Kang offered to train later if he got a break. Then, Jay bluntly told Mew to leave his classroom. Mew fired back, reminding him he didn't own the room. It belonged to everyone. Jay coldly replied he never visited other classrooms because he simply had no reason to do it. The whole class started whispering, joking that these two were having another lover's quarrel. Taking advantage of the chaos, Chell snuck up and snapped a sneaky selfie with Jay. Jay was not amused and demanded to know what her deal was. She boldly called him handsome, claiming she wanted to show her British friends the new guy she liked. She literally needed the photo as proof that he was her boyfriend, casually asking if he was cool with playing along. "I know what you are thinking," Jay said yes. Nope, immediate rejection. But she just smirked, showing him it was already posted. Waving the posted picture, she teased that it was too late to delete. Meanwhile, Mia arrived at class looking thrilled about her upcoming movie date with Yuna. When Yuna walked in, she locked eyes with Dom Kang, who looked totally unbothered to see her. The girls walked past in dead silence. Normally, Dom lights up around Yuna, but today was just weird. Later, to dodge any awkward questions, Dom faked being exhausted and just buried his head for a nap. Mew totally noticed the tension. Dom and Yuna just weren't talking today. Mia noticed too, asking if something happened with Dom. Seeing Yuna's sad face, she asked if they fought. Looking upset, Yuna just quietly muttered, "It is nothing." Glancing at Dom sleeping on his desk, Yuna sighed, saying they weren't even close enough to fight. Meanwhile outside, Dom's loyal guard dog was protecting his bike. Dom finally walked out and the pup went absolutely crazy, tail wagging like mad. Yep, Dom Kang actually named his dog Jordan. He praised Jordan for guarding the wheels like a pro, whispering they were skipping class today. But the second Dom unclipped that leash, Jordan took off like a rocket. Dom grabbed his bike and sprinted after him. He screamed Jordan's name loudly, but the dog wouldn't stop, drawing confused stares from everyone around. Chaos handled, Dom strapped Jordan to his backpack and just wore the dog. Bystanders could only stare at Dom. Riding a bike with a massive dog attached. Dom begged Jordan not to run away again, warning that it was super dangerous. Class finally ended with everyone heading out. Meanwhile, those three salty guys from yesterday were creeping around, desperately waiting to ambush someone leaving school. Being from a rival school, they lurked outside Sunny High's gates hunting for their guy. But the loudest one of the trio came up completely empty-handed. But he suddenly spotted the exact girl he tried flirting with yesterday. Yuna was just walking with her friend Mia. Yuna looked super depressed since her usual hype man Dom had ditched early. Seeing her looking so down, that troublemaker smirked and immediately warned his boys. Mia kept trying to discuss Dom, pointing out his super weird vibes today. She poked around, hoping Yuna would finally spill the real tea. But Yuna brushed it off, saying Dom skipping wasn't exactly new. She told Mia to chill, promising he was fine. Mia just said she really hoped so. Yuna stayed silent until those three creeps suddenly blocked their path. With a nasty smirk, one guy asked if she actually remembered them. Terrified, Mia asked who these guys were. Meanwhile, at the WD club, Dom used his free time practicing 6 cycling tricks while the bodyguards tracked his speed. He was absolutely shattering records, landing god-tier moves. So what do you and I take from this? Our boy Dom is getting dangerously serious. Alright, stick with me here. Dom was working absolutely crazy hard to master this standing bike trick, just hoping to impress his friends and join their biking crew. Suddenly, his phone rings. Dom thinks it is super weird for someone to call him this late. He grabs his phone from his pocket to check the screen. It is Mia, and she sounds completely terrified. Hearing her panic, Dom immediately goes on high alert as she screams through tears to help Yuna. Those same bullies from before are harassing Yuna, and Mia is clueless on what to do. Dom's face instantly drops. Even his bodyguards know something is seriously wrong. A bodyguard tells him it is time to go, but jumps back in shock as Dom snatches his bike. He blasts off at full speed, looking absolutely furious. Meanwhile, these punks are totally cornering Yuna for Dom's number. They brag that protecting her boyfriend is useless since they will definitely track Dom down anyway. Yuna claps back, saying they have serious issues, first causing drama, now stalking Dom. She straight up warns them that if they keep acting like annoying creeps, she is calling the cops. One arrogant dude sarcastically asks what she really thinks will happen tomorrow if she actually snitches to the cops. Mia is totally freaking out, completely unequipped to handle this terrifying street drama. Mia nervously whispers that she already called Dom and he is rushing over right now. Yuna's eyes go wide in total shock. She desperately wants to keep Dom out of trouble, especially seeing who is leading the pack. Vinny is a walking nightmare. The guy radiates crazy energy and brings chaos everywhere. Now pay attention here, because Vinny is itching for a fight. He totally set up this entire trap just to force a showdown with Dom. And Mia just handed Dom right to these bullies on a silver platter, seeing their boss zoom off like a maniac after a sketchy phone call. The guards immediately try to chase him down, but hit a nasty red light. Dom's super loyal dog Jordan is riding with them. Totally confused about how his owner pedals a bike so incredibly fast. Meanwhile, Dom's dad calls demanding an urgent update. They tell the boss that right after answering a sketchy call. Dom suddenly sprinted off toward his school like a madman. He is pedaling at supersonic speeds, even losing his baseball cap in the wind. As Dom furiously pedals, his brain goes into overdrive. He absolutely has to get there before these thugs lay a single finger on Yuna. Guilt is eating him alive since they ignored each other all day. As he races against the clock, wild flashbacks start hitting him. He flashes back to his old edgy style, though that iconic mustache always stayed the same. He was working bouncing duty at a club when he spotted some creep grabbing a girl. Dom stepped right up, demanding the guy let go, but the absolute jerk kept his grip on her. Then, another guy walked over, calling out the blatant disrespect. Warning that his dad would be furious about this messy behavior. The creep instantly bowed, apologizing profusely and promising to back off for good. I know what you're thinking, love at first sight, right? Yep, that exact look was the very first time Yuna and Dom locked eyes. Cut to their first day at Sunny High. Dom was hobbling on crutches, rocking a completely busted leg. Students are literally gossiping, assuming he is some rich VIP kid with crazy connections. While checking his phone, Yuna suddenly walks up and asks if he is that mustache bouncer from the club. Boom, turns out they are stuck in the exact same class. She roasts him for showing up looking like a thug, demanding he fix his dyed hair and dress normally. Dom snaps back, asking who gave her the right to boss him around. Extremely annoyed, she just glares. So Dom stands up, pulling her aside for a quick sec. He secretly begs her to keep quiet about the club gig, hiding it from all students and teachers. He explains his fake mustache and bouncer job absolutely have to stay a massive secret. Dom genuinely asks why she is even wasting time running her mouth about him. With zero hesitation, Yuna shoots back that if he is so terrified, he needs to drop the gangster act and play the normal student role. Dom snaps at her to drop the useless nonsense, assuming she has major attitude problems. He also sees Mia and Yuna happily reunite after being study buddies back in elementary school. The girls just chat like he is completely invisible. He seriously regrets not pretending he had never seen her before. Why be stuck at the exact same school as her? With 1 year until college exams, they could just be out partying like crazy. At least that is what some guys walking toward him are saying. But passing Dom, they shoot dirty glares and mutter absolute trash. Dom completely ignores them, but these jerks spin around, demanding to know if a measly freshman really just dared to disrespect his seniors with that look. Dom calmly replies he is just looking straight ahead and cannot help they are there. Those seniors refuse to let some scary-looking kid totally disrespect them. The main bully completely threatens Dom to drop the smart mouth act right now, but Dom does not even blink, staring a massive hole straight through the guy's soul. The punk lunges in, throwing a wild right hook, but Dom smoothly dodges. The problem is, since Dom's leg is totally busted. His buddy sweeps his crutch out, dropping Dom straight into the dirt. They immediately start stomping him, screaming about who he thinks he is. Walking away, they complain that freshmen have zero respect, basically telling him to stay down if he values his life. Dom was caught slacking for a second, but oh man, playtime is officially over. He slowly grabs his crutch from the dirt, while those two losers are still running their mouths about keeping the freshmen down in the dirt. Dom practically teleports behind them. By the time the guy spins around, it is game over. That crutch smacks his face, and that is how Dom became the ultimate discipline enforcer that day. He completely folds both of these guys. Mia and her friend randomly happen to be walking by, just chatting away until they look up and see Dom absolutely serving out justice. Those two arrogant bullies are already getting a brutal life lesson. Yuna is totally mind-blown watching crutch-wielding Dom completely solo these two guys with zero effort. Dom is just standing victorious over the bullies who tried jumping him, showing them who is boss even with a totally busted foot. So what do you and I learn from this? Karma hits fast. Now Dom is getting ripped apart in the principal's office for wrecking those third-year bullies. All right, you and I are jumping right into the chaos. The principal orders his teachers back to their classrooms. Less chatting, more watching the students. He strictly demands they keep this entire incident totally under wraps. No way is he letting the school's precious reputation take a hit. The vice principal is stressed out because the main boss is away on an overseas trip. He warns Dom Kang that his parents are heading to the school right now. Suddenly, a knock at the door. The secretary peeks in, nervously announcing that Dom Kang's father has officially arrived. The VP says to let them in. The secretary shakes, trying to explain something, but they barge right in before she can finish. Dom's dad rolls in deep with a squad of massive bodyguards, casually mentioning how glad he is about this fancy school. He takes off his glasses, looking like a total mob boss. He asks his son what he messed up this time. When the dad greets the VP, the poor guy practically shrinks into a puddle of pure fear. Dom knows he is completely busted. He realizes this situation is about to escalate out of control. Now pay attention here. Dom strolls through the halls completely untouched, leaving everyone, us included, wondering how he didn't get expelled. After he whacked two punks with his crutches, everyone avoids him like the plague, whispering behind his back. Dom is super annoyed that they keep gossiping like he is literally invisible. He tracks down the ultimate nap spot, way up high and totally silent. Completely drained, he hits the floor and immediately starts drifting off to sleep. Suddenly, a voice demands he get up. Startled and low-key terrified, Dom realizes this person literally kicked him to wake him up faster. Furious, he demands to know what jerk just kicked him. Then it clicks. It is just that one annoying girl who is constantly nagging him about everything. She glares right at Dom, asking if he has any clue how much time she wasted hunting him down all over the campus. Right away. Dom asks why she is trying so hard to find him. She sighs, saying the teacher sent her because they need to talk. Falling back down, Dom mumbles he will go later. Right now, he just wants to chill, because dealing with teachers gives him a headache. He peeks open one eye to see if she left. Dom sees her still sitting there, playing on her phone. She glances over and bluntly tells him she actually feels sorry for him. She wonders how a guy dyes his hair, works club shifts, and still finds time to beat up upperclassmen. Why not just try being normal for once? Dom wants to know why she even cares enough to keep bothering him. She is seriously testing his patience now. They end up chilling on that rooftop for a good while. She suddenly asks about his post-graduation plans. Dom thinks it over, mostly just confused about why she is hitting him with deep questions up here out of nowhere. She points out that everyone has some kind of dream, so he must have one too. After a beat, Dom admits he is actually into music. She asks for details, like producing, composing, or maybe singing. He quickly clarifies that he has no clue what exact path he wants to take yet. He just knows he belongs in the industry. She thinks that is way too vague, since there are a million different paths he could take. He explains that music always calms him down, anywhere he goes. You and I can totally relate, right? So now, he just wants to create those same good vibes himself. Yuna suggests studying hard to score a solid music degree at a university. Dom genuinely asks if going to college is even a strict requirement to make beats. Yuna admits it is not exactly illegal to skip college, but a university is where people level up and become true specialists in whatever they are chasing. Dom listens while lighting a cigarette. Yuna instantly snaps a hard no at him. Surprised, Dom actually pulls the tobacco straight out of his mouth. She adds that whatever he does, he needs to stop smoking on school grounds, especially up there on the roof. Yuna warns that society will crush him without a high school diploma. Trying to dodge the lecture, Dom flips the script and asks about her dreams. She admits she honestly does not know. Dom is totally baffled by that answer. Yuna explains she just grinds hard and studies 24/7 so she can provide a good life for her little brother. She literally has zero long-term goals for herself, but when Dom casually asks more about this brother, she goes dead silent. Clearly, it is a massive sore subject. Yuna sighs, saying she is wasting time. She stands right up, telling Dom to fix his attitude and finally go see the teacher. Dom claps back, pointing out she wasted her own time by constantly talking to him. But Yuna smiles, saying it is really cool he has a real dream. She genuinely hopes he makes it big, promising to fully support his journey. Then, she hits him with one last reminder to go see that teacher. That exact moment shifts everything. Dom starts seeing Yuna in a totally different light. Honestly, nobody in his entire life had ever promised to back him up like that. A massive new feeling explodes in his chest, a sudden, desperate urge to turn his life around, a real purpose. By the next morning, the whole school is absolutely shook. Dom walks in rocking a completely fresh look. He actually dyed his hair back to pitch black, and instead of causing total chaos like usual, this guy is literally helping clean the classroom. He spots some kid leaving eraser shavings everywhere and straight up tells him to quit ruining the freshly swept floor. When the kid ignores him, Dom leans over, staring intensely at the drawing and the pile of eraser crumbs ruining the clean floor. Dom coldly warns him that if those crumbs drop, the kid is picking up every single one. The boy starts sweating, while Dom casually complains about cleaning. Then Dom tosses him a correction pen, saying it is way less messy. Terrified, the poor kid aggressively agrees to use it instead. Over by the windows, Dom catches Yuna scrubbing the glass like her life depends on it. Seeing her work so hard, he immediately walks over and gently grabs her hand. Taking the rag from her grip, he proudly tells her to step back and let a man handle this. Yuna is totally confused, asking why he is acting so weird today. His crazy stunt is driving the teachers insane. They yell at Dom to get down, warning him it is extremely dangerous. The students realize his actions are getting wilder every day. Climbing outside with a busted leg just to help Yuna? That's where we leave it. Trust me, you'll want to see what happens next. All right, jump in with me here. Dom completely tuned them out, just scrubbing away trying to impress Yuna. Yuna felt terrible, thinking this whole mess was her fault. Walking home later, she straight up told Dom he was way too extreme. Dom sighed, totally wiped out from playing the good student. Yuna reminded him to chill, just act normal, no need to go overboard. Right on cue, his stomach rumbled. Laughing, Yuna offered to buy him some food as a reward for surviving the crazy day. But in Dom's head, he just heard a free dinner invite from his crush. Dude instantly assumed it was a full-blown romantic date. While he stood there completely zoning out, Yuna walked ahead, yelling for him to catch up. Blushing, he apologized and asked what was for dinner. Suddenly, some punk shoved into him hard. Dom actually apologized, even though he did absolutely nothing wrong. But the jerk wanted a fight. The guy demanded cash for his ruined uniform. Classic TJ lackey behavior. Dom just stared at him, asking why he should even care. Yuna quickly hissed at Dom to stand down, threatening to never speak to him again if he fought. Stepping up, she offered to cover dry cleaning. The punk sneered, demanding 300,000 won for a brand new uniform instead. Yuna sighed, asking for his bank info to just wire the cash. Now pay close attention here. Dom actually stops her, offering up his super limited edition sneakers to pay off the debt instead. He hyped up how hard he fought a rapper for those exact kicks. Super rare Jordan V1 series, supposedly worn by Michael Jordan himself, right in their size. He smirked, saying they were way better than cash. Suspicious, the lackeys asked if the shoes were cheap knockoffs. But checking them out, the pores, the backstitching, that crisp logo, everything screamed absolute premium quality. These kicks were 100% legit. Yuna was totally clueless about sneakerhead culture, just completely lost. But the bullies, they were drooling over the drop and completely satisfied. Those kicks were pure fire and would sell for insane cash online. They gladly took the shoes as an apology for the whole street bump drama. Yuna beamed at Dom for actually keeping the peace. Smiling back, he promised her he was gonna graduate high school without throwing a single punch. He admitted he finally had a real reason to leave his clan behind. Thrilled, Yuna offered to buy him whatever he wanted. His pick, fried chicken. But you and I knew better, right? He quietly grabbed his phone, texting his huge bodyguards about exactly what just happened. Getting the green light, his crew instantly moved on the punks carrying Dom's precious kicks. Those lackeys were just laughing, bragging about bullying losers for free stuff. But right around the next corner, Dom's giant, terrifying bodyguards were waiting. The bullies instantly froze in pure, absolute panic. The suits demanded the shoes back, promising nobody would get hurt if they behaved. But after handing over the sneakers, things got incredibly loud and violent. Cut to those bullies tied to a tree, sobbing their eyes out. Meanwhile, Dom was pedaling his bike furiously, feeling guilty for breaking his peaceful promise to Yuna. He cranked those pedals like an absolute madman, flying past Minu and Jay. He didn't even spot his own crew, since he was in way 2. Much of a rush. Trust me, we gotta see what happens next.